streaming coming through to
fucking already?
Yep.
I'm going to just press the button.
It's magic. Magic, I tell you.
Magic, that is. You press a button and the internet does things.
It is.
Welcome to the internet.
It's weird when you think about it, because that computer is saying data through cables to your ISP, then through more cables to an underwater cable that's going all the way over to wherever Restream is, who then forward it onto wherever YouTube servers are located, and whichever Twitch server service is located, which is then forwarding it back to us, so we can watch it.
In that time. Insanity.
Yeah.
Absolute insanity. How's the audio?
That sounds always on Twitch.
Reasonable. I would hope. I'm not particularly bothered if the camera starts to glitch out, but...
It won't. Let's have a look. On here.
Oh.
I think that looks like me. I just hear it speak, so I can tell.
And there's an advert.
Not on this one, though, is it?
There ain't no adverts. It's live.
Oh, we've got 2 people watching, apparently.
I don't believe you. How many of those are us?
It does sound quite quiet, if I'm honest.
Quiet? Well, yeah, it was quiet last time, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's probably the laptop.
Hang on. I've got it. I'll have a look. I will have a look. Because, you know, I have set it to be a bit lower, though, just to get rid of most of the background noise of the computer. Renards. Fuck off, Twitch adverts! Sorry. I want to check. I want to do an audio check. I don't give a shit about an advert. This is our channel.
Yeah.
Oh, this ad supports Twitch. Well, that's a bunch of calmness.
You mean an advert on Twitch supports Twitch?
Yeah, it's bizarre. Look.
Well, I thought Twitch just put adverts on for the goodness of their heart.
Dread Pirate Bezos. Jeff, mate. Look. Don't make me add you to the speed dial, alright? You might give me a good pair of headphones back in the day, but there's no need to be a dick, eh? So.
That's alright. That's alright. That's alright. That's fine. That's fine. Good. Right. Swords.
There you go.
Hey. Good evening on the TheSuffolkRam.
Skazz.
Welcome to episode 119 of the Randheads podcast.
119.5 because...
Wow, that one wasn't really a podcast, was it? Let's be
that was
honest.
me going, oh shit, I'm streaming to the wrong
That really
place.
threw me when I went on there. I said, recently streamed episode 119. I thought, hang on. How, when? What?
I literally only just finished 118.
Yeah, that's what I was like, hang on, so how did that happen?
Have I knocked myself out and woken up 2 weeks later?
I looked and I played it, and it's like, hang on, that's Skazz's logo in the corner. How dare he?
How dare he brand our shit?
Yes. He's off brand. How could he do such a thing?
How dare he, the cheeky bastard?
Yeah. So I very quickly rectified that by unlisting it and had to reset up the the Stream Now event, so it was redated for today, and I got the date wrong. I set it for the 2nd, not the 3rd.
Oh yeah, it's the 3rd.
Yeah. So yeah,
I've lost a few days.
Yeah. I've lost a few years.
Good job.
So yeah, I fucked that up. But other than that, yeah, it's fine. It's all working well.
Amazing.
It is.
Amazing.
It is. Yeah. Nearly 120. Soon we'll be at the 128. Ram Day.
Good job.
We should have done something at episode 2, episode 4, episode 8, episode 16, episode 32, and 64, now 128. Now we've got to do something, and the next one will be 256.
Didn't we say we were going to do something for 255 as well?
Yeah, buffer overflow.
That's
it. We'll go 255 and then back to episode 0.
We're going to Gandhi.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We'll buffer overflow to episode 0.
Good times. We've got to do that. 255 next episode 0 and see if anyone calls us out on it.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
And then if
it's my fault. I only stored it in 8 bits.
if you can comment that we mentioned this on this episode, you get a prize of absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Well, by the time we get to episode 255, we might have like some people on Patreon. So I might have to send you like a bag of sweets or something.
You never know.
It has to be something small to get in the envelope, so I don't have to get charged too much at the post office for it. But I could probably do something like that.
We can't afford that. We'll never be able to afford that.
No.
We can barely afford to run this. And this is the shitiest shite show in the world. This is so low budget, it's not even funny.
It's the sort of cobbled together, when you see like people in Africa, they've made like windmills and turbines out of rubbish. Yeah. That's a higher grade. That's a higher grade quality than we're achieving. Really,
it is true. And considering
they made bloody cars over there, and we can't bash together a podcast studio.
But the thing is that the really bizarre thing between us, we've got enough hardware to make an 80s hacker film look really, really shit. We've got enough audio equipment to make the average recording studio look shite.
To be fair, in your garage, it does look like I can imagine it's being some hackers there in the film.
There's a few screens missing as well.
you got 3 screens, all different sizes. Laptop, an old ThinkPad, a computer, and so on. And you've got a server. This could be a little hacker's retreat, to be fair. If some sort of low budget 80s film. Yeah, I mean, all you need is a picture like of a satellite on there, and you've hacked into the government or something. Then we'd be sorted.
I need to get a map. Put that on the wall and some random.
Just remember, you've got to instantly, wherever we want you to get into, you've got to type a few buttons and instantly have access to it.
Of course.
Right, even
That's how hacking works.
Right, even an IP address.
That's how it works.
It's all about how fast you type the keys.
And what about war dialing or anything? Just like literally.
Truth of hacking, they make you think you need to use all these like air crack and nets and mmap, all sorts of stuff. You don't know it. You've got to type really, really fast. It's all
in the same space on the keyboard. Right? Yeah. You're not actually moving your fingers around. Just literally, you're pretty much hitting like just JKL.
Yeah, exactly. If you do it fast enough, you'll hack anything.
Yeah. That's just how it works. Yeah. I thought you knew that.
I've learned it when as I've been learning about penetration tests. I've now learned they teach you all the old-fashioned methods, and they teach you just randomly type the keypad.
Yeah, just like literally, if you really want to get in really fast, say something really nasty to someone on Twitter, and then headbutt your keyboard. Bam, you've hacked them.
Yeah.
Or just aggravate 4chan and you've been hacked.
Yeah, that's true. Or get someone else to jump on the keyboard with you and hack together.
Good job.
There's a fantastic bit in a guy in a professional penetration tester did a video for Wired where he looks at movie hacking scenes and TV as well. And it's brilliant. It's like, that doesn't work. No. They came on to Mr. Robot Bench. She goes, actually, that's spot on. Actually,
yeah, that kind of works.
That's spot on. Yeah. And then the infamous NCIS scene where I need some help on this keyboard. The two of them start jumping the same keyboard at once.
That's not gonna work unless you're both. I mean,
how you synchronizing your command input there?
I was gonna say, how did you two? I mean. Wow, I mean...
I meant to do... You did dash F, I meant dash R.
It's like fucking synchronous typing. Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ, you're gonna give those synchronized swimming teams a run for the money at this point. They spend years practicing how to do a couple of legs up, splits, back under. You lot are typing shite tons of commands faster than anyone could imagine. How did you know that you were about to start that command? How long have you been practicing this? Oh my God, there must be a world record.
They've been doing a lot of practicing, and then when the moment that hacking alarm went off, they didn't say out loud. They basically looked at each other and went, "Now is our time. Now our moment has finally come. We are going to show the world how to synchronize counter hacking." And off they went.
I've always loved the in the films as well when you see the ones with the sci-fi hacky sections where like flashy shit's happening on the screen, like walls are coming down and all that kind of stuff. They're trying to block the hackers.
You mean Unix isn't like that?
You just like see this guy.
I've watched Jurassic Park, so I know what Unix is like.
See this guy randomly mashing on the keyboard and like fucking screens start flashing red and that. I was like, none of that stuff happens. And the guy's like, just like mashing the fucking
no matter what they hack, it's always got a really decent user interface.
And you're like,
it's got a user interface for starters. It's like, why has the garage door opener got a user interface?
Like, last I checked, that should only be a command line interface. What are you doing, mate?
Why has this web server got a 3D holographic user interface for the back end?
I was going to say, no wonder it needs so much RAM. It's like, wait, why does it need all that?
Oh, it's the Chrome server. That explains everything.
Yeah, it's like it's all running in the Chrome browser. Like, everything runs in the Chrome browser now. Good job. Like, everything. everything. Somehow, Chrome starts up before everything else. It's just it. There is no BIOS, there's just Chrome.
Yeah.
No
Chrome.
UEFI, just Chrome.
Well, to be fair, if you have a Chromebook,
cringy. Bless them. No. Just no.
we had a Chromebook.
How did that go? In the bin?
It was all right actually. What it was for the money you paid for, it was all right. I think she paid 120 quid for, and actually, it was all right. What is? Although I did point out that it's fine if the internet goes down.
Don't they do some offline? They
You can download stuff offline if you want to. But you got to sort of tell it to do it. Which is like, oh yeah, that one file you were working on.
But in the grand scheme, though, when you think about it, most of our computers are practically garbage these days if they're not connected to the internet.
Well, it's true. We are an internet-connected society, and yeah, you can't do much without access to the internet.
Nope.
I mean, the internet this day is basically, as well, in some countries they now treat the internet like another utility. So they treat the internet in the same bracket as gas, water, and electric. They consider it a fourth utility.
Well, you kind of have to these days. You can't even fill in your taxes on paper anymore.
Well, they do it on. And so, the reason they do it in other countries, they treat it like it's an essential service, and you have to say it has the same rights and protections as your gas, your water, and electricity. Because so many things rely on internet connection, and if you lose internet, you can be quite screwed over.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think especially for someone who, let's say you're disabled and can't get out of the house very easily, the internet's a lifeline.
Well, even if you weren't, I mean, I've gone down to like the council offices and that to speak to folks down there, or Department of Work and Pensions, places like that, and you speak. So I had to get some help for my taxes at one point. Weird. I went to go speak to an advisor down at one of our local offices, and the number of people who were like, "I don't have a computer." They're like, "Yeah, but you need it to be able to do any of this. To get past the gate guardian, you needed to have already been on a computer." I was like, "But they don't have one. Didn't you used to do everything on paper, like literally, a year ago?" I was like, "No, it's all digital now."
I think though it's getting to the point now, where actually in this day and age, not having a computer or even even a laptop or tablet or something is actually a major roadblock to everything.
No, I agree.
And I mean, to be fair, the government's been pushing people for a long time. This is not like it's an overnight thing.
No, for sure.
A lot of people are like, I don't need one of those.
Well, it was
and
just a
bit
bit
left behind.
It was a bit scary. Like I said, when I had to do my taxes and that, it's all online now. My uncle, when he does his taxes, they used to literally just send him like an envelope through with a booklet that he'd fill in to do his taxes. And I was like, that's not going to last for much longer. And sure enough, they've binned it. He now has to do everything online. Yeah. But he doesn't have a computer.
Yeah, well, see, I've obviously now got self-employed, and I've gone then straight down to the digital tax route. I thought, well, this seems just easier.
No.
And the software I use automatically formats it for it, so I can just send it across. It's done.
Sure.
So it's just the way
it's all fine and well if you're prepared for it. I mean, but you have to understand that a lot of people aren't at your level or my level.
No, I'm talking
we often
very,
forget about that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm talking from a very privileged point of view because I just like, well, of course you just have a computer. Of course, why it's in. I mean, I won't lie. It does seem weird to me in this day and age to not have a internet-connected device, even if it's just an iPad.
Yeah,
it does seem, or some other tablet. It does seem weird to me in this day and age. You don't have that a little bit, but that's because I've had one for 20 odd years.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've had an always-on internet connection for probably the last 15 years. So I'm just used to, going on the computer and just hitting the browser and the internet straight there, not having to dial in or anything. So I think there is a position of privilege. I don't mean privilege in, look, I've got the internet, but I'm so used to it.
Yeah, it's like you're numb to the fact that it's something that there are people below you at your or they're not at your level. Because I often do that as well. Like when I'm talking to some people, I'm like, "How is this difficult for you to follow the instructions that I'm giving you?" And I'm like, there was once upon a time when I didn't even know what half of this stuff actually meant. So just rewind a little bit and
I do find it a bit weird when even now people go, "Oh, I don't have a computer. Why would I need one of those?" I think myself, these days you kind of need one.
You can't do your
And
taxes without
the
one.
sort of instant dismissal of I don't need one of those. I would say that does sort of worry me a bit. So when people say I don't have a computer because I can't afford one or I don't really understand them or something, I've got more sympathy for. But when people just like bury their head in the sand about the whole idea of having a machine, I said you don't need much. You don't need a tablet will do, and it's a 50 or 60 quid tablet from
my
Amazon
mum has done most of her because she's doing loads and loads of courses at the moment. She's going to she's doing like over university courses and things as well.
Evening Pitbull.
She's doing all this stuff. She is doing it all on a Lenovo X200, which is a laptop you can buy. It's a Core 2 Duo, right? She's doing degrees on this thing. You can buy them for about 70 quid.
Yeah. So that's not an unreasonable thing to purchase. You know, and actually, I think that I do think people when I've had this about people. I've said the thing is when you've got one and you start using it, and you find how many things you can do with it. It will change your life in a way, particularly if you're not so mobile as you used to be.
Sure.
You know, being able to do just something simple like your banking online, or your shopping online.
Yep.
You know, that will change your life.
Yeah. I will admit that kind of stuff also has its negatives, and that it can also enable
isolation and so forth. Yeah. Yes, that's true.
I can't remember what I was actually thinking about. Then when you basically freak out when you go out in public. I can't think of the.
I know what you mean. Not a fear of open space, but fear of being just in public in general.
Yeah. Basically, anxiety's gone through the roof at that point.
Yeah, I can see that. I think though, however, you have to be sort of halfway there already. I don't think you'll necessarily. I think you perhaps having a device at home that means you don't have to go out might make that worse, or like that to be more to its head. I don't think it actually cause it.
I think it's going to depend on the individual.
I think you've always got the. I think personally you always have to have had some anxiety before.
Well, but
imagine
the idea. So not even going for the anxiety angle here, but just imagine that you're a lazy ass motherfucker and you hate going into town.
Half of that.
And like you don't want to. You don't like going into town. You don't like. I mean, none of my friends like going shopping. None of them. Right? Most of my friends, but they won't do online shopping until recently, and then they were like, "Fuck, I ain't going shopping ever again. I'm never going shopping ever again. I don't have to go into that crowded space anymore. I don't have to deal with shitty people at the till. I don't have to deal with self fucking checkout. I will just press a button and I will just sit here and wait." Yeah. I've known some people who just won't leave the house now because they don't have to. Food will be delivered to the door. All interactions will be done online.
See, I personally see that actually as a bad thing. Because let's be honest, Tom Gun Shop is a pain in the ass.
It is. But
when I go into town, I don't go. I think I don't go into our local town centre very often.
Well, you can't because there ain't one now.
Well, I went in there last Saturday. Actually, I went there, but that's the first time I actually looked at my phone.
Yeah.
Because being an internet person, I paid for my car parking via an app.
Fucking hell.
Why don't you take change with me then?
I suppose.
Because there are so many car parks that still have not got card readers on the ticket machines.
You are one of the crazy people that just absorbs technology as it comes.
Yeah.
As a convenience, I hate it.
Yeah. Well, I was like, so I just sit in my car and I just literally say, I'm in this. It literally picks up which car park I'm in, what car you drive in, this car, how you want out. Okay, boom. Push your button to confirm. Push your touch ID to confirm. Boom, done. Okay, I'll text you when you're getting close to your time. Because that's the other thing. Just text you and say, oh, you've got 10 minutes left in your car parking. But I happened to go in town because I was going to a local shop that sold Games Workshop because I've got slight band of Games Workshop again. I went in there to buy some paint because I mistakenly ordered paint for airbrushes, not paint for normal brushes. Because I wasn't paying attention when I was ordering it.
Good job.
And I didn't have to order another little tin of paint all by itself, so I thought I'll go in town and buy a shop. And yes, I did end up spending 15 quid on a new model there because I walked past and looked, that's so cool, I'm buying that. Stormwave and Gunship, if anyone's interested. So that was the first I've been in town for like shopping purposes. I think when I look back on my app, the last session I had was like June last year.
It's terrifying that you actually keep track of yourself.
Well,
with an
the app does it. The app also just remembers all your previous sessions. And I always use the app to pay for my parking because it's easy. I did go. That's the last time I went down for shopping purposes. I have been into town more recently than that because I met up with somebody who was coming to the train station.
Sure.
So it made sense. But that was only a matter of convenience. I wasn't there for shopping for actually using the town centre as a town centre.
Well, you can't use the town centre as a town centre because there's nothing there.
No, but that's been killed by online.
Yeah.
And as much as I work in a bricks and mortar store, and as much as I hate it, online is killing. You know, it's if this day and age, if you have a store and you don't have an online presence, you need to have something else to draw people in.
Well, because people these days are too quick. That's like life is too quick, too much hustle and bustle. You know, you can't. Why stop to shop when you could literally keep on moving? Quickly tap something on your phone. You've ordered what you need. It's going to be delivered at your house like within the next hour. You can then leg it to the coffee shop to hang out with your mates for a bit, have a chat, and then fuck off back home and grab the parcel. Or it's already been dropped off. You don't have to worry about it.
It's just, it's convenient.
Yeah.
You know, I do still go into shops. I don't tend to order groceries online, mainly because, well, where I work, I'm across the road from a food store, so it's no big issue for me just to walk in there and buy stuff. I don't buy a lot of groceries, to be honest. So I tend to sort of go, I'm in and out. I know my way around in and out quite quick. So I don't tend to do that big shop. But stuff that I would say is like not a daily purchase. I tend to use Amazon, to be honest, most of it.
See, I used to really hate Amazon back in the day, but then when you started to see the decline of the high street, and I saw that one coming a while ago, and especially when I lived in Norwich, I didn't know anyone in Norwich. I didn't like walking an hour to get into Norwich city centre to go and buy the things I wanted. Online started to get more and more convenient. Plus, when you started to see the state of some of the stores, let's say, for example, I want to go and buy some accessories for my PC, a new mouse, keyboard, whatever. So you'd think I'm going to go to PC World. And you go to PC World and they haven't fucking got anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, but your PC World, mate. It's in the name of your store. PC.
It's a hassle, actually, going in to buy stuff. I mean, because, I bet I've seen your point similar to me when it comes to serving. A peripheral is probably a good example. I won't just have any peripheral. I'm a little bit picky on them because it's something I'm going to be using a lot. I want to make sure it's the right thing, so I'll spend a lot of time researching it and so forth. And you say, if I want to go to our nearest big city from us is Norwich. Realistically, that's the one you go to. If you want to actually have a chance of buying something, so you have to go to Norwich. Lowestoft, there isn't nothing really in Lowestoft. Nope. If you want to buy a decent mouse and keyboard, you've got to go to Norwich.
Well, even if you wanted to buy games back in the day, you had to go to Norwich. When the original Xbox came out, and I tried to explain this to people a while ago, like they're like, oh yeah, but all these RPGs and that came out on the PlayStation 2. I said yes, but in towns like mine, you couldn't even get Xbox Live, the package to connect to Xbox Live. You couldn't buy it unless you went to the next city over.
We are in the UK equivalent of the sticks.
Yeah,
round here. It doesn't look it, but we are.
Yep. I mean, a lot of people, if you were to say, like, London kind of way, if you were to say, what's the furthest east you know of, it would be Norwich City.
Yes.
They don't know of anything from Norwich to the coast.
Well, there isn't really anything there.
No.
But yeah, if I want to buy a keyboard from Norwich, I'd had to either drive there. Then I've got to find somewhere to park, pay the park, which is not cheap in Norwich.
No.
The other option would be to get a bus to the train station or park at the train station, pay an exorbitant price.
And you and I both know that the fucking train is a joke.
Yeah. I don't necessarily actually. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't totally mind because I don't. As long as you're not relying on it for timing.
Yeah.
If you don't care really what time you get there and get back,
no, but like, do you remember when we used to go to university and we'd be at the station by 5:30, but we still wouldn't get to lectures until just before 8 o'clock.
So if you're not in a hurry, there's nothing really wrong with it, and I don't mind train with that, but it's just so expensive. But okay,
trains make me physically sick these days, by the way.
Oh,
just a random.
The rumble.
I don't know. I can't go on a train anymore. Oh. Apparently, it could be anxiety.
Oh.
And I've never had that issue before.
That's because you order so much off Amazon.
Yeah, so I need to get.
So let's go to the car route. So you go in your car, you drive there. You've had to put petrol in your car to get there, or diesel in your car. You have to find somewhere to park, which is not so easy unless you pick a right time of day. You park up. odds are where you're parking, if it's cheap, is going to be nowhere near the city. So you've then got to walk to the city centre.
Yeah.
You then got to find the stores. And let's work basically, you're not using the internet for this at all. So you're not using your phone for anything for this purpose. So you've got to find the stores. So why don't you're going to do Yellow Pages? Good luck. So you have to wander around trying to find computer stores, go in, try out, and they've only got 3 different types of keyboard. I'm not sure about this. Then you go to another one, then you go to another one, and you end up perhaps going back. It probably takes you 4 or 5 hours to get the. If you're like me and you want so that you're going to be happy and comfortable with, not just any random keyboard that you're buying for £5 for you don't care. Yeah, you're going to look around and try and find it. That's a whole day buying a keyboard.
Yep.
Or you go on Amazon, you look up some reviews, you read about, spend an hour or two doing some research, and then you go, "That's what I'm going to buy." Boom, buy it. You don't have to leave your house. It's just I mean, you could literally do that. Sat in, and I hate to sound like a fucking trippy hipster or whatever, you could literally do that now, sitting in Starbucks across from your mate as you're talking about peripherals or whatever, hit the button and then go back to your drink. Yeah. Like, it takes no time at all. The high street can't compete. There's no good reason to go there, unless there's a good reason. I mean, the store I went in the other day where I bought Walmart, they also do gaming days there and tournament days there. There's a reason to go there. But I bet you, if you spoke to most people who went there, they're all who live within walking distance. Yeah. You know, it's not a hassle to go there. Because the other thing, from our point of view, going to our town centre is a bit of a hassle. It's not, you can walk it, but it's not a conveniently walking distance. It's about 1 hour. To walk to town?
Yeah, if you've got both your legs cut off. I mean, it does take a wee while, but yeah.
Yeah, or you're fat like me.
I mean, no, it is true. It does take a fair while to get there. I mean, it's not a short distance by any stretch. I mean, as bad as it sounds, like you say, it's an hour's walk. If I'm having a bad day and I have to use a walking stick or whatever, and there are days when I have to do it, it could take hours to get back from town.
And if you've got stuff with you, that's the other thing. It's if you buy something, it's okay if it's light, but if you buy something heavy, I don't know, like perhaps a new power supply for an Xbox, say.
Oh Christ! You'll never be able to carry that. You better have brought your forklift with you.
Yeah, exactly. If you bought something like that, you got to carry it back, and it's just so. I mean, I don't. If I've got time to kill, I don't mind just going somewhere, just wandering around. I don't actually mind that. I've done it at Norwich, but I probably do it maybe once a year. Yeah. And I think I went up to Norwich in Christmas I went to Norwich 2 days before Christmas because I need to buy some last minute presents and I couldn't find them anywhere else. I thought I'll go into Norwich and have a look around because I'm a typical male, do everything last minute. I went to Norwich, I parked up and it was dead. I was amazed. It was the Sunday before Christmas, it was dead. I mean, I literally got the car park. There's a car park the nearest one I'm sitting on was empty.
Just hit the gift wrap option on Amazon, dude. Yeah. Just send it straight through.
Yeah, wandered around Norwich for a couple of hours. Actually, I quite liked that. I quite enjoyed that, if I'm honest, because it was quiet. There wasn't too many people there. Yeah. So actually, it was quite an enjoyable experience. I didn't mind, but I wasn't. Yes, I was going with a purpose, but I wasn't like a time-critical purpose.
See, sometimes I like doing stuff like that just because you can slow down. I think that's one thing that people miss these days. We're always like, oh no, we're too busy. We haven't got time. It's like, you're not that busy. You're just going to sit there and binge another couple of shows on Netflix. So you're going to go wank yourself raw for another couple of hours.
Bloody hell, 2 hours?
Well, you never know. You never know. There are some crazy people out there who actually, they pay for that Pornhub premium. So, it's...
I think mine fall off if I tried that.
Well, that's why you got to make sure you got extra, that you got to have the wipes and the cream and just... go at it. Make a day of it.
Make a day of it.
Make a day of it.
What are you doing your day off today? Well, I thought I was just gonna have a wank day today. To be honest,
I'm gonna go for the world record. How many times can I jerk off in a day? Yeah. But a lot of people just need to slow down.
To shame.
Yeah. I've got my wanking jug next to me, so
measure it up.
There you go.
The thing is, I can get a semen jug if I want to.
Just take it from the farm.
Yeah, take it from the farm. Wash it out a little bit.
It's been lightly used. That's all right.
Wash it out a little bit. Yeah, disinfect it.
But yeah, I honestly do think that a lot of people do need to slow down. It is sad what's happening to the high street, but you can kind of see it it's been on the cards for a while, hasn't it?
I think I feel it's sad, but there's no actual answer to it.
No.
There is no. It's just the way the world is changing, and there is no real way round it. Unless you, I mean, I do think there are certain
cheat day, by the way, and it's barely got any sugar in it. It's aspartame.
You know, it's in the red. Trouble is, I tell you, the other big issue which has killed the high street. It's not just like sort of Amazon and so forth. It's on-demand services. Back in the day, it's like you used to. Oh, I want to watch Stargate. Oh, I'll go and buy.
Go get it from
DVDs.
HMV.
Yeah, I did. I used to go to HMV and buy this and so forth. I was waiting for them to be released and so forth. Now, which streaming service is on? Oh, I've got that. I'll just watch it on there.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, and you would go to places and you would browse them. You'd look round, perhaps see. Oh, I haven't watched. That's a neat. HMV was good for really niche sci-fis. There are a lot of niche sci-fis in there. I'd go around browse. Oh, I've never heard this one. Let's have a look. Oh, that looks quite good. I'll give that a go. It's only like $5.99 DVD. I'll give it a go. Now, half those on Amazon or Netflix, you don't need to browse.
I remember I used to have to import my stuff from America or Japan.
Yeah.
I remember if you wanted to buy anime or manga or anything that I used to watch back in the day, me and Bud used to travel to Norwich quite regularly. That used to be one of our hangouts. We'd say, hey, you know what, this weekend, let's go see what they've got down at Abstract Sprocket or whatever. And it's like, okay, cool.
I think books are slightly immune to it because I think I still prefer a physical book.
I buy my books off Amazon though. I admit I will, and actually some of the books I buy are actually only available from Amazon because Amazon will print them and ship them to you.
Yeah, Amazon Publishing.
Yeah, which is I like that because then it's being printed somewhat locally and then.
I know from a fundamental point of view, it's only using resources when it needs to.
Yes.
I do prefer. I just like quite looking. I do like quite going around browsing around bookshops and so forth because the trouble is books, unless it's a textbook, something specific you're after, there's so much noise out there.
Yeah.
So spending some time looking and appreciating books are probably perhaps my little immunity because I prefer physical books. I always have preferred physical books. I have got any, and it's useful. I will admit it's useful.
I've got Good Omens in the house.
Yeah,
physical. Yeah, physical.
Yes, this has got.
But I've also got a digital. I've got the audio book.
Yeah.
And an ebook version. But I would still rather go and pick the book off the shelf and.
Sisters picked up the physical copy of Good Omens. The only thing I have now got to do now, the reason I've now switched more to using a tablet reader is I find with the RSI in my hands, when I lay in bed at night, because I often read when I lay in bed, the angle I have to hold a book at, my RSI in my hands really flares up in about 5 minutes.
No, I'll give you that.
So, but it doesn't with a reader.
Fuck, we are old.
But it's too many years to use a computer.
Another downside to using a computer.
So what happens is technology has crippled me in such a way that I can only part survive via technology.
You need
us. This is basically the Matrix forming. But I'll sit there and I'll be on my little e-reader, and that's why I use it now more in the evening because it's comfortable.
Do you tend to buy so if you bought a book physically, would you then maybe go out and buy it digitally as well, just so you have, or would you just say fuck it?
Oh, that's when the spendthrift in me comes in. You see, because I don't like paying twice for the same thing. So I tend to either buy it digitally or I'll buy it physically. I'll do one or the other.
I see. I tend to. It depends how much I enjoy the book.
Yeah. It depends what it is as well. So D&D stuff I buy physically. Always buy physically because I like having the manual to hand. I can flick through and so forth.
Yeah.
Same with Warhammer. You can get e-versions of their books, and they are better in a way because they will actually patch them. So if they do a rules update, they'll patch the e-book on your tablet with, so you get the latest versions. And actually, from a tournament point of view, you need to have the latest version.
Yeah.
Or you have to at least know the rules of the latest version.
Not so good for preservation purposes, but
but that's not what it's intended for.
No,
It's a rule book, and it's designed to be a patch and so forth. So that I can say, but I still prefer physical copies of the books. I prefer like it's all.
Well, because if someone argues with you about a certain dice roll, you can just close the fucking book and belt the bastards with it because they're pretty heavy.
Well, some e-book readers are quite heavy. Put,
Look what you done! You broke my fucking Kindle.
What's you put a case on it for?
What's that case for? So I can beat my other D&D mates with it.
My case of my phone has been drop tested to 8 foot. So I think that by that definition, that means it must be able to hit someone in the head quite hard without breaking the screen.
That's why I always buy mag alloy laptops, so I can just whack someone with it. That's still good.
So, you've dented my laptop.
You son of a bitch.
So
that scene out of Young Ones when Vivian hits Neil over the head with the fucking plate. And you've broken my favourite plate. It's like, yeah, because you fucking hit him with it, you twat.
yeah.
But, I mean, I do still like buying physical books. Some of the books that I like to read, like, I don't know, random... I've been reading Brewer's Dictionary of Phrase and Fable. Really fucking old. You ain't getting that on ebook.
No.
And if you want to read a specific version of Brewer's, you're not going to find it on a...
No, I've got quite a collection of random books.
Mammoth Book of Myths and Legends. Have to have that physical because you can't get it in digital. I've got 2 copies of that.
Anything I want to reference, physical's a lot easier, I find. Ebooks have an advantage because you can like jump to chapters and so forth. That is an advantage, so you can quickly get there. But there's nothing quite like poring over an actual book and looking through tables and charts and diagrams and so forth.
Yep.
I mean, I used to carry around, when I was at university, I used to do my agriculture degree, I used to have 2 Sainsbury's bags full of books I needed to use. And I'd carry them around over the course of the day, and my arms would be... I've got RSI on my hands now because all those books I used to
Yes,
carry
it's
around.
not the computer, it's the books.
I used to sit there in the library and I'd have half a table, I would just have books, all these reference books spread everywhere. But it's great because I could cross-reference and so forth. I wouldn't work so well on a tablet. I had some PDF books on my laptop, and they were no easy to use.
No, for sure.
That's actually something that they've not replaced, is that sort of thing.
Being able to have like fucking 30 books open in front, I don't know, that's kind of a huge number, but just imagine, with books you can.
Yes.
And you can just glance over and say, that's the one that I need to look at for this one. Whereas if you're reading ebooks or whatever on a tablet, you just don't have that flexibility. It's one book on the screen at any one time.
Being able to flip between 2 books at once.
Yeah, it's just it's difficult. It's awkward. Yeah. You lose your place. You can't just... It's harder to mark the fucking things. Not that I mark books, to be fair.
No, I don't. I don't do any... Unless it's an autograph. I don't do any... I also hate it when I get live books and some previous person has been a bit bored and started marking the errors in the book. I've had that a few times where I've rented a book from the library.
You've rented a book?
Borrowed it from the library, and I've gone through. I was like, what are these marks? And my grandfather used to be a proofreader. He looked at, oh yeah, someone's put proofreading symbols in there. So I thought, how sad and lonely are you like?
House. If you fucking do that again, I swear.
How lonely would it be to sit at home and actually go through a book and proofread it? I mean, what are you achieving here? What's the next person along and go, what the fuck's all these squiggly lines for?
You think to yourself, they've probably already printed a revision. You've wasted your time.
And you've annoyed me.
Yep.
That's the bigger crime here.
Of course. Of course it is. What the fuck are you playing at?
Yeah. You've wasted your time, you've wasted the publisher's time, but you've annoyed me.
You've annoyed me. I've now closed my book, taken it back, and I'm going to fucking find you. I know who it was. You're the last person to check out.
Yeah. Yes. I used to go and say someone's vandalised this book. You want to follow it back. Whether the library did anything, I suspect not.
Yeah, probably not.
So
probably not. Now, if I was the librarian, I would be going around people's houses. But
you wouldn't let them have books. If you're the librarian, you would never let them borrow a book.
Money books.
Yeah, they used to be all on chains. That'd be how you'd be in the library. But it's 50 Shades of Grey. No.
You're not having it. It's shit.
Yeah. Well, that'd be great. You go to the librarian. I won't buy these. That's rubbish. That's rubbish. No, you can't have those. They're rubbish. Here, have this instead. It's more intellectually stimulating.
Learn something. Put that shit down. Puts it into my dirty reading stash for later.
Yeah. The other good thing about libraries is because libraries are not very good at keeping with technological books. Aren't very good at keeping up to date with them. And I remember when we were at college before we all went our separate ways when we were at Lowestoft College, going to the library and borrowing books and just how outdated they were. And they said,
look, DOS.
I picked up. No, you're kidding. But when we were learning about websites, I picked up a book on HTML, and it proudly stated, it says, we estimate by the end of the decade, 1 in 10 people may have a computer in their house.
So, good, good try. Close.
Close, yeah.
Close. As I will say, bless. I remember when one of our lecturers was going to teach us how to do how to build WAP sites. I was like, I hate to say it.
They're all in the way out when we were there.
Yeah, like no one's using WAP. And he's like, really? I said, no one's using WAP. No one. Like it's just not a thing. Like it was a thing in like say back when we were in high school. Like the few years later,
I don't think anyone used. I'm pretty sure no one used rap. I think rap was something talked about on television,
yeah,
but no one ever
like,
actually used.
It was something that was there, but no, it was never really a thing. But
it was never any good.
It was mainly on phones like the few years before we went to college and that. So I was like, but they're already replacing it with full blown websites on mobile devices now.
Yeah. I had a WAP-enabled phone. I think I used the WAP on it once, just because. Oh, I've got a WAP-enabled phone. Let me have a look. It's like this is
nightmare.
This is rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not using this again.
In fairness, I find just using it like WAP even versus like a text-based browser in like in the terminal in Linux, the text-based browser wins.
Yeah,
there's nothing in it. It's just
it's so slow. It was a technology before it was ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
It was an idea, but the computers did it better. It was so shit, you wouldn't be able to use it practically outside anyway.
I still don't even like using my phone to browse the internet. I don't like it. Occasionally reading a very small amount of text, fine. But I don't like watching videos on my phone. And it must be said, I don't like watching videos on my phone, but I'm not saying I need a home cinema system.
Yeah.
If you gave me a laptop, even with a shitty screen, like my Lenovo T430, I will happily sit there and watch a film on that, but I can't use my phone.
I used to watch quite a lot of streaming on my phone, but that was before I banned myself from watching videos and stuff when I was going to bed.
Yeah.
Because I used to watch them, sit in bed and watch like Netflix when I was laying in bed.
Good idea getting rid of that.
So I banned myself from doing that because it doesn't let you. It was ruining my night's sleep because I wasn't actually, even though I was going to sleep, my brain wasn't properly shutting down because it was like not associating in bed with sleeping. Don't have a problem with text. Text is fine. I don't have a problem, which is why I can read books in bed. But I think you would. I think because you can actually let yourself go more of a book in some ways.
Well, no, when you're watching a video, it's automatically pumping you, isn't it? It's like your brain is firing.
Depends what sort of video watching, Skazz, if it's automatically pumping you.
But
the Rankathon.
Well, that's what you're preparing for the next day. That's why you don't get any sleep.
So I banned myself, but no, I don't really stream any video. I do, and also it amazes me now in this day and age how many websites don't work properly on mobiles, unless you actually download the website version. The amount of websites I go on, they you just watch as a format and it goes, I have no clue what to do. Yeah, I'm going to put the button somewhere inaccessible to you.
It annoys me when you have like the screen ends up being captive to an ad on a phone.
Oh yeah,
it's like please stop it. We're on it's a crappy user interface to start with.
I could think something more annoying than that. This website uses cookies. Do you wish to accept them or not?
Oh fuck me! Don't.
What the most stupidest piece of legislation ever put forward? Because all that happens is everybody now goes accept. No one looks at them. No one reads that.
Actually, I'll be honest. When that comes up, I just close the site.
But it's now legal that all sites.
No, I know. I just close the site. Yeah. 3 out of 5.
It's not the site's fault.
No,
I
know.
To do it.
It annoys me. And there are some sites where, you're not in the right region now, so we're just gonna
That was because that's was that GDPR cause?
Yeah,
that?
we aren't gonna comply with blah blah blah, or we can't. Therefore, because you're in
Britain, you can't walk through this news article.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay. Well, there's a guitar fucking site I used to like going to, right, where they do custom bodywork on guitars. Can't go there anymore unless I go through a VPN. Why the fuck should I need to have a VPN to go to a guitar website? A fucking guitar website.
Well, that's because they're too busy stealing on your data, you see, and they don't comply with GDPR. So
well,
they have
there you go.
Yeah, so, sorry, we are calling everybody.
As opposed to Google and Microsoft and Apple.
The difference is, they do it anyway, but they just don't care.
Yeah, they're like, we've got enough money to pay your fines.
Yeah.
Your fines, mate. Here you go. Have some money.
When I go across Google says, look, mate, we basically run the internet. If we stopped our server in your country, people would panic because the amount of people whose idea of surfing internet is open the browser, go to Google, type in the website you want in Google, and then click on the link.
Do you know that infuriates me when people do that? Well, I'm going to go to youtube.com, google.com, youtube.com. What the fuck are you doing, you insufferable twat? That's like asking someone, what's the number for 999? All right.
112.
It's like, please, people, come on. What are you doing? Google,
If Google shut down, that would be the end of the internet for a lot of people.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'm just going to Google that. You're not even on Google. I was like,
You're
on Bing. How are you finding anything?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna Bing Google.
On Bing, you find websites from 20 years ago.
You know, it was really weird. I remember, like back in the day, like back before Google was a thing, you'd have to go to like 3 or 4 different search engines or internet directories.
Lycos, Alta Vista.
Yeah, and then
Alta Vista was my favourite before Google all properly took off.
Don't forget you could go to Yahoo directories.
I never liked Yahoo.
No, but it would still help you. I mean, because if there was something that wasn't indexed by one of the others, you had to literally do some legwork to find something. Then Google turns up and you're like, oh, okay. I will say, DuckDuckGo. Okay, DuckDuckGo. Interesting search engine. A freedom-loving search engine, apparently, they claim. I don't care what you search, nearly everything will have a porno listing on the first page.
Well, yes.
Yeah, but Google don't do that. They're like, no, there might be children around. Let's keep this clean.
Goes like, fuck the children.
Literally. They'll learn.
They'll learn.
So
let's face it, I remember before Safe Search was a thing. Doing it. That was the rite of passage. You go on image search on Google and just search for something. It's like, how quickly do you how many pages? They used to play the games and you search for something. How many
pages you go down before you. It's like, oh fuck.
Because the porn, yeah.
It's like DuckDuckGo. Literally, who was I was talking to? I was talking to him on the phone. I go, I want to just test this for me. I go, because I think there's something wrong with my browser or something. Like, it's just recommending porn to me. And I was like, just search something.
Oh, those machine learning algorithms are working wonderfully.
Yeah, they're doing great, except they've picked the wrong group of people to serve to me. But I know I look a bit, but come on, get it right. They still fucking eBay haven't got a clue about me. They recommended country music to me the other week. I was like, fuck off, mate. It's like, what is it, Totally Country or something like that? I was like, no chance, dude. Yeah. But yeah, talking to one of my mates on the phone, I said, just search something for me. And they typed in BBC.
Big boobies.
No. No. So obviously...
Big beautiful cunts.
No. So we, obviously, BBC... British broadcasting, right? But what they got instead was big black cock. That was fucking hilarious. I was like, good job, DuckDuckGo, keeping the internet safe, keeping them children safe.
I remember once my grandfather was into he was doing dolls' houses when he was young, and I was trying to show him how wonderful the internet was.
Oh dear!
So I googled dolls' houses and just found a random form. So have a look at this form. That'll help you. You can do. But I'm porn enthusiast in dolls' houses. You can read about it. It was a porn forum.
Good job, mate. Yeah. There you go, Grandad. Yeah. Check this out.
I remember also coming across a site when I didn't realise what it was at first because I didn't pay attention to the URL.
As you do.
This wasn't a porn thing. And it was like, I was looking at something about electricity and I was like doing some research and they're talking about sockets and so on and so forth, and it was saying something like, yeah, whatever you do, make sure you don't ever put the two circuits, the two things in these two plugs here, blah 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 blah. Unless of course you're black and then just lick it. It's like, whoa, and then I looked for, oh my word, this is a electric form on some massive old white website. I'm leaving this right now.
That's it, like, away we go.
Yeah, I'm going to close this browser now.
So, well, I kind of did the same thing, but I was actually quite recently. I was looking up George Carlin interviews, George Carlin, the comedian. And just randomly, I clicked this. I clicked the thing. So it was about an old George Carlin's opinions on like a long list of stuff. And I'm reading down, and all of a sudden they were like, "Oh yeah, George Carlin and the blacks, and he's so friendly with the blacks and blah blah blah." And I was like, And that was a lot more aggressive than that. And I was like, hang on a minute. Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Oh shit! Off we go.
Yeah. HitlerLovers.com.
Just like this is starting to get a little bit crazy, even for me.
Oh well, I have a bad habit when I'm googling something. If the sort of like, because obviously you get the title of the website and then you get the sort of blurb where it comes up. If that looks vaguely useful, I click on it, without actually looking to see what website it's from. I may have pressed
I've done that too.
Oh, I really shouldn't be on here,
Like, oh dear.
Your Honour. And that's what happened. That was not what I was expecting.
It's like, and he's probably thinking to himself, "Yeah, I've done that too."
Yeah.
But he'll never admit to it, you cheeky bastard.
Yeah. This is why I use a VPN.
All the time. And then you paint a massive target on your back because you're using a VPN. Clearly, you're an elite hacker.
Yeah.
Look at his elite hacking skills with his VPN.
Well, Firefox is getting VPN built in.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be interesting. So,
Mm.
anyway, shall we move on to games we've been playing? Cause
Yeah, I was going to say, we've been going for a good,
50 minutes.
Excellent. So this is keep your children off the internet is very dangerous and technology is ruining Nick's wrists. Or that could be his 24-hour wanking sessions. Hey.
That's what the sheep are for.
World record. Leave those clouds alone. Cool. So, what have you been playing?
I revisited a game.
Is it a good one?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Well, I've enjoyed it so far.
I was going to say, is it one of them ones you thought was really shit, but you went back to just to be sure you were right?
Well, no, I revisited it because when I played it last, it was in early access, and it was really early access. And it's since come out of early access, and I'd heard it really changed quite a lot.
Okay.
You know, thing. So I've been replaying Re-Happy Foo.
Okay.
So when I played it last, it was a survival game. The idea was if you start, it's set in an alternative 1960s.
Crazy times.
After the war, and it didn't go well. And it's in a British village. And everybody basically takes this stuff called joy. And it's a drug, basically. And basically it makes everybody happy. And you basically can't be sad. Now, sometimes people... Well, in the series, at the very start, you basically start in the office, and your job is basically to look at old news articles, and if they look slightly depressing, you blank them out so no one can read them. Censor them. That's your job. Anything that looks like if it's cheerful, now if it's about fluffy cats, you say, "Yep, that's fine. It's approved material."
What the fuck are they called in 1984? There's a group in 1984 where they do basically the same thing. Like if it doesn't fit the rules, they have to get rid of it. Anyway, keep on.
In this case, is it cheerful? No, blank it out. If it's like old news article, find like dead bodies in the river, that gets blacked out. If it's like fluffy kittens, that gets accepted.
Wow.
And you basically come across an article that, and it's quite clearly straight on. It's obviously even from the original base that it's an article about you and your brother collecting scrap for the war effort, and you have a bit of a moment when like you sort of have a Vietnam flashback, and you go take your joy, and you have a choice. Then you either take it or you throw it away.
Right.
If you take it, the game ends.
Okay.
Because you saw it. I'm just not going to worry about it. If you don't take it,
down the rabbit hole you go.
Well, yeah. So you suddenly start realizing you can then sort of get out. You start sort of exploring. You start seeing the world for how it is. And what this drug is doing to people, and very quickly people realise you're what they call a downer, and these are people who don't take joy by choice, or for whatever reason they're like bad batches get made occasionally, and people take it and then they have a reaction to it and can't take it anymore.
Oh wow!
And in that case, they're called downers, and they get kicked out because they're depressive, and we don't want
they're bringing down society.
Yeah, so they get kicked out.
What do I feel that society is probably a complete shithole anyway?
It is a pretty much a shithole. So you get kicked out, and you find yourself sort of out on the outskirts. And in the original version played, that was that was it. That was it. That initial sort of bit was to give you the taste of how it was going to be like. And then in the latter part in the game, you just checked out, and basically your goal was you could just solve the world. It's a procedure generated world.
Okay.
What's a bit interesting about it though is procedure generated. It's got proper quests in it. So basically, it'll prop down. So there'll be like a quest based around a mysterious chest. So when it generates one of the villages, it will plonk that chest in that village.
Okay.
So the quests are fixed, but they are randomised where they're going to go.
Okay.
Which is an interesting idea. So they're trying to, and yeah, basically it was a survival game, the usual, you run out of food, run out of water, you got sort of, harvest and craft and all sorts. The usual fare. They've now released the final version, and the final version is it's very different. So it's a lot, whereas before it was like you just got dumped out. So now that after that initial bits, it's a lot more story focused, and you progress through a lot more. Almost like there's obviously some degree of fixed bits to it. So after you get chased out by the bobbies.
Oh crikey! It's the Rozzers.
Yeah, it's very sort of it's very 1960s sort of Britain slang and all sorts and sort of. I have to say it's a Canadian development company. They've done a pretty good job actually of making it sound British. There's a few little bits where they slip up. Right. Just so for example, the guy will refer to a lift as an elevator. No. My little things like that, but they're very rare. Most of the time, they get it reasonably. It sounds like a 19th, and it's all got sort of psychedelic style, sort of.
Well, let them have the occasional cock up.
So yeah, let's face it. I'm sure if you tried to. Well, apparently one of the things I was reading, apparently a lot of people who play Americans who play GTA, like pointing out the mistake or the Britishisms they use in GTA in era, because also it's made in Scotland. And the amount of times they use British slang and words, and they should use something else by accident. So we don't notice it though, because it sounds foreign to us. Yeah. So yeah, it's science, but when it just jumps out of you when you hear it, because being a British person, it jumps out. It's like, oh, it's an elevator, not lift. That's a weird thing to say. Yeah. But you wouldn't necessarily notice it. And yeah, so you basically start off, and it's a full-on story-driven game, and the story's seems reasonably decent. I mean, it's quite. I mean, I've only played about 12 hours, and I've only done like 2 story missions. And
wait, how long?
I've been about 12 hours into it now.
Wow!
Just sort of but to be fair, I've been doing a lot of sort of exploring, and I'm one of those people who do everything sides first.
Sure, and then go through the.
And as I've got a map that basically, as you walk around, it unlocks and shows up. I have to unclear the whole map first before I can go on to side.
You basically doing that like what I do in some of the East games that don't they have like a map completion percentage. I have to clear everything.
Yeah. But I have to do it before I go further because I don't want to risk like missing anything.
Yeah.
Also, just to add a little bit of nonsense, they now have implemented autosave. Thank fuck, because it wasn't in there before.
Sat there going, save, just
it wasn't there before. So you have like this. I mean, you can now save it. Before there was like this all these underground. Here's another Americanism. They basically they switch over between the two. They basically it's underground places where council workers can go. Occasionally they refer to them as municipal workers. That's another Americanism. Okay. But generally they're pretty good at referring to them as council workers. And these houses is where the quick travel system is. So there's like these maintenance tunnels across all the islands. And if you go there and you unlock them, so when you find it, if you unlock it, you then have access and you can then just fast travel to any of the other islands. That's sort of, but you have to get there first. Which I quite like, I like the way you have to sort of get there and unlock, and you have to do something. You can't just, you have to actually.
Yeah, you can't just get there and then.
Oh, you discover this location. Now you can fast travel. It's not like that. You have to actually unlock it.
Sure.
So I get out of this sort of world and I find myself dumped in this world and like this little island. And my first job is to get across a bridge. And tell I've actually done more story missions. I think about it. And this guy says, "I can get you across the bridge. You need a card, and I just want you. And you also need. I've got a card to get you across. You need power cell as well to go open the bridge up.
Okay.
And the guy says, I can give you the card, but I want you to go to this nearby camp called the Head Boys gang, and I want you to basically go there and retrieve my war medals because he'd fought in the war, and he was a downer as well." Because he remembers the war. No, sure. And so you have to go to, and that was and that basically is the first mission that teaches you things like proper stealth, and how to use stealth, how to do combat as well. The combat system actually, I will say, it's very simple, but it's actually quite nice. It's reasonably solid. So you can block, strike, do a power strike, or you can shove.
Okay.
And it's a bit of rock, paper, scissors on it. So if you're blocking, if someone's blocking you, If you shove them, you'll basically
You
stagger
push-
them and
yeah.
stun them a little bit, and then you can strike them. If they're not blocking, obviously you can hit them. If you're the thing comes to you, if you're blocking, they might try and shove you to like break your block. So it's a little bit of what places, and it works well enough.
Yeah, sure.
It works. It's quite solid, and once you sort of got the hang of it, you can, control fights quite well. I've not had any more trouble. You've got things like weapons degrade and the break, and you have to like find new ones, repair them, and so forth.
Is the degradation of weapons reasonable? Because
No.
I know... No. Okay.
Yeah,
was gonna say,
a
there are a
wooden
lot of
stick,
games-
you're going to get about 3 or 4 hits before it breaks.
I was going to say, like, because there are some weapons where you could get, like, a legendary item number 1 or whatever, and then you hit a fucking rabbit with it 3 times, and all of a sudden it disintegrates.
Yeah, no, it's their weapons are quite. I mean, admittedly, the stick wouldn't last very long in combat. I mean, the lead pipes tend to break quite quickly, but I think that's because it's early on. It's meant to, you're meant to, but you pick them up quite quickly, and also when enemies down, they'll have something you can pick it up and replace it and so forth. So, to be honest, the survival parts of it they've toned down a lot because I think they realise they've created a story-driven game, and actually, the survival elements detract from that.
Yeah, it's too hard to get to the next part of the story.
It actually slows you down.
Sure.
So, obviously, you have to worry about food and water. Now, if you don't have food, basically, if you're well fed, your stamina bar increases.
Okay.
If you're not well fed, then your stamina bar doesn't increase, and it just doesn't increase. And you don't have to eat at all.
So the eating and things just makes it easier for you to progress.
And with liquid, if you don't drink, if you eventually thirsty, your stamina slowly regeneration goes down slower.
Okay.
Whereas if you keep drinking, it goes up faster.
So they've rebalanced it.
Yeah. To be honest, though, in my view, I would strip that out because they've obviously toned it down a lot, probably because they realise that they're trying to make a story-based game.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people aren't going to be able. They're not going to.
It slows you down too much.
Yeah.
It gets in the way of the flow of the game. So they've just toned it down so much to make it not be a problem.
There's not even worth having there at this point.
It's pointless having it. So you might as well just have like power-ups and buffs like temporary increase your stamina and forget about all that.
Yeah.
But obviously they wanted to keep it there because that's their original vision.
Yeah, sure.
Because that's just,
yeah, I get that. I suppose.
I get the idea of it, but when you've toned it down that much, you've watered it down so much, there's no point in it being there. I mean,
you know that someone's going to get that little happy feeling when they they eat or they do whatever to get that stat boost or whatever.
But food and water but unless you're in just berries, you get a canteen of water that lasts like half an hour for you to worry about it again. That's quite a long time, in gameplay mode. So again, it's balanced on the side of it's not really going to be a problem.
No, for sure.
I don't really worry too much about it. If it says you drink, if I happen to have a water canteen, I'll drink it. And if I have to pass water, I'll refill it. Yeah. But I'm not going to worry too much about it.
No, I get you.
But the story side, I'm actually surprised. I was trying to find out. I had a quick look today, so quite happy the team was. I don't think it's a massive team, but they've got full-on, interactive 3D cutscenes. You first after you got off the initial starting island, which is tiny. At that point, you've encountered things like your clothing as well. So one thing that is quite neat about it is wherever you go, you have to act like the people there, so you don't get noticed.
Oh, okay.
So if you are in the outer islands, if you've got like really posh jacket on, posh clothes on, it's obvious you're not meant to be there. And people like hate you for it because obviously you're new kind of. They think, we can have him. He's weak. We can take him down. So you have to dirty your suit up and like rip it and so forth, so it looks like you've been there a while.
Oh yeah,
and people will leave you alone. But likewise, when you get to the posher parts, if you don't dress nicely, and also if you run everywhere, people think you're acting a bit odd. And you have like a meter that basically tells you how inconspicuous your actions are. Sure. And also things like if you start picking a lock, that meter drops dramatically because that's a very suspicious thing to do if you're picking a lock.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's got some neat features in it. For example, there are certain devices that you might want to interact with. If you dress up as a council worker, no one will question you.
No, that's true.
Because you look like you're meant to be repairing it, so you won't worry about it. But if you're just wearing normal, fine clothes, they'll wonder who you are, what you're doing. There. Yeah, so that's a neat system, actually. A neat idea. To sort of adjust your clothes to fit the area. And so it's got crafting, so you can craft like healing balms and so forth. I'm quite enjoying it. I'm about 12 hours in, but I've been mostly exploring, which is what's taking time. I've done a few of the side missions. It's now got a skill tree in it.
Okay.
So you can unlock skills like usual things like stealth skills, like that you move quieter. Oh, stealth is quite interesting. I quite like the stealth system they've done. So when you go into crouch mode, you go into stealth mode. You have the ability to see you see footprints through walls. You don't see people, but you see their footprints.
Okay.
And you see as they walk, you'll see the footprints on the floor moving, so you can get an idea where people are. But what you can't see is like their vision codes and like that, so you don't know what they can see, but you can get an idea where they are. That and as it only works they're a certain distance of you. That's quite a neat little self system. To be fair, and works quite neatly. I said the main downsides to it. I said the tile mechanics are pointless. They don't need to be there. Character models. There's very few character models in the game. There's about 4 or 5. From what I've seen the count so far. So when I got ambushed by these head boys, they all had the same. There's about 4 of them. They all had the same character model.
Yeah.
And it's just, but again, small team.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very PS2 era padding for enemies. Like a certain faction, they just all look exactly the same.
Yeah, but because they take a while to, if PS2 gets away from it because you're often you're shooting and you kill them really quickly, you don't notice so much. Because it takes a while.
In some games you do. Like if you play, like if you've ever played State of Emergency, Rockstar State of Emergency, like the characters just look exactly the same.
Yeah.
The police all look like the exact same police officer. The mole rats all look exactly the same as all the other mole rats.
And so it's little things like that. But the Cowboys I'm not so critical of because it's a small development team.
For sure.
I'm not screwed. And the fact they've actually created a fully fledged story and with cutscenes and so forth, and all voice acted with actually decent voice actors as well.
What kind of specs does this game need to run on?
Oh, that's a very good question. I don't actually know off the top of my head. Not a lot.
Okay. Would you say it would run on your laptop?
Possibly. I haven't tried it. I thought it's got a decent graphics card in it, so probably.
Yeah, fair that. Something worth checking. Because I like to check this kind of stuff now for like budget gamers and things like that.
Yeah, I'll have to have a look and see. Trouble is when you've got a powerful machine. You don't ever think about specs. I just that'll work.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like back in the day when I said when I was running my PC. I don't think about it. I tend to think about snobbishly. I don't tend to think about that anymore.
I don't think about that anymore.
I know it'll work. This was designed for the current gen console games. That'll work fine on my PC. I've said I find it quite neat. I find it quite a neat little game. I'm enjoying it.
How much does it cost now?
I don't know. I'll quickly look it up for you.
Just gonna look it up.
I'm gonna look it up. Tappity tap.
And find out what platforms it's on to. It's on Steam, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
The platform.
Yeah, there's only one platform.
We happy few. I think that got advertised for me recently.
Whoa.
What's that?
I would say it's overpriced. £45.
Fuck right off, mate.
Yeah, that is the normal version. Digital Deluxe Edition, £70.
How about no? Congratulations, you've ruined that.
That is overpriced. 30 quid, actually, I'd say yes. Actually, if it was 30 quid, I'd say quite because
that looks quite nice.
Yeah, it is quite nice. It's quite.
Because I remember you showing me this a while back.
Yeah. I'll put a link to the video and show us. But yeah, I mean, it's quite. But that's not bad actually. Graphics, you think about it, and sort of stylization.
That's actually very nice.
Yeah.
I'd say that would require a reasonably spec'd PC at this point. Looking at that.
I don't think it's all pre-rendered though. This is. I think you have different character tiles as well. So you have like different stories. So I'm playing through Arthur's story, but there's I think a couple other characters as well, and they have like different. You follow them and do different stories and so forth.
No, I get you. Yeah, even then, looking at some of the gameplay, that's going to require a PC more powerful than I think a lot of folks I know have.
Yeah.
You've actually got the specs on the page.
Yeah, let's have a quick look. Yeah.
Windows only.
Indeed. Okay, so we'll go for recommended.
Okay.
64-bit Windows 7 or above.
Okay.
Quad core Intel AMD 2.5 gigs,
Okay, that's not very specific, but okay.
8 gigs of RAM,
Ooh.
NVIDIA GeForce 660 GTX or AMD Radeon 7870 HD series or higher.
Okay, that's about the same spec as Alcatraz, so you could get away with that for like a PC built in 2012.
And also, it's probably where it's got high RAM. They're using the RAM as a swap for, aren't they?
Sure.
Version 11 DirectX and storage 6 gigs.
Yes, you won't be playing that on your laptop, and I won't be playing it on mine either. Maybe on my gaming laptop, if, spoiler alert, it hadn't broken. But
yeah, but that is overpriced. I didn't realise it was that
I'd say that
expensive.
for
Because I got it in early access, and I bought it for like 15 quid in early access, but 45.
that's a bit much.
Yeah,
it looks nice, but I wouldn't pay that.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend it for that price. If it was 30 quid, I actually could say I could just.
Would you say wait for sale?
Yeah,
Good enough to wait for sale.
do enough for it for sale. Yeah, definitely. So
Wow, that was a surprise.
I tell you what. Okay, I know you don't like this game, but if you liked Bioshock, this is a really similar style. Because Bioshock was obviously set sort of 1950s Art Deco.
Yeah.
This has got a very similar style, and it's the first game I made me think of when I played it.
I hated Bioshock.
Yeah, so it's
Game was trash.
yeah.
It looked pretty. Don't get me wrong. It looked pretty. The world was nice and all that, but
I played it a year or so ago. We played through it again.
Yeah.
And the
lost a
combat
lot of its charm.
No, I enjoyed the story.
Mm-hmm.
The combat is really clunky though.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realise how clunky the combat was, and it feels really, really clumpy.
Hasn't aged well.
No, combat hasn't aged well. The gameplay I like, the storyline I like.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy that bit. I enjoy sort of some of the things. Because it's still quite a free-form game. You can do quite a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the combat was really, really clunky. So yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah. But yeah, we happy food. I said not 45 quid. I recommend it, but
Looks very pretty, but not for that price.
no, that is. I always just sound snobbish, but if you're an indie developer, thinking your game's worth 45 quid to me is a little bit.
I mean, that does look a lot better than some AAA games I play. That I've seen, but I wouldn't pay that much.
They have got funding via Gearbox.
Oh well.
So they are. They have been funded via Gearbox a little bit. Always I call them developers still was they weren't initially. Gearbox came along later on.
Sure.
And sort of said they're developing and working.
Here's some money for some polish.
Yeah, basically. So
okay.
That's why I sort of still consider it an indie-ish game.
Okay, I'll let you have that.
Cool. Yeah, we happy food.
Buy it on a sale.
Yes.
I still think those requirements though. What is the lowest? What's minimum requirements? Sorry, I don't mean to keep dragging this on, but I am now genuinely curious.
Same Windows, 7 or above, 64 bits. Triple core Intel AMD 2 gigahertz.
Okay.
8 gigs of RAM. NVIDIA GeForce 460 GTX or AMD Radeon 5870 HD series or higher. Mobile NVIDIA GeForce GTX 580M or higher. DirectX version 11, 6 gigs hard drive space.
Sure. That still wouldn't.
The RAM would kill me. Well,
Yeah.
that'd be what killed me. Graphics card, I feel I'd be alright. RAM would kill me.
I don't think I could do that on my laptop. It's the GPU that let me down. Everything else I'd be okay on.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
A push.
Yeah.
But on my gaming laptop, I could play that recommended all day, every day of the week. Again, but it's broken.
So, Skazz.
Yeah.
What have you been playing? I know what you've been playing because I watched your live stream earlier.
Yeah, whilst I was miserable. Not because of the game, just I feel like absolute crap today. Well, there's been more of an experiment, really, than what I've been playing. I've been playing through old East games again. Some folks in the Linux community that I occasionally babble with. I don't properly talk with them. I just, oh, hey, they've said something
Is it
on.
the beards that sort of push you off?
Yeah, well, just look. Occasionally, they're talking about their latest window managers. I don't really care, or they're talking about the I've just gone and bought a trackball or a new key. I don't care, just fucking use your computer, play your games, and shut the fuck up, right? But they recently recommended another guy, Kai Linux, recently recommended that another Linux guy Hex DSL play East Origins, which is a very bad idea. So they're playing it on Linux, and they mentioned that there was a bug in that some of the videos in East didn't play on Proton, the kind of the Wine DXVK one-click install wrappery dealio that's built into Steam now. The videos didn't play. They didn't realise there were supposed to be videos there, but the intros didn't play, and some parts in the game don't play. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if Origins is the only one that does this, because I've played through majority of the East games already. I know where most of the stuff is supposed to be, albeit I can't remember how to navigate the map 2/3 of the fucking time, or I always forget something really basic like equipping my armor. But
that is a problem,
dude. I do it every single game. I've played through
you
East
definitely
1.
want to be the shield hero.
I played East 1 3 times on stream, and every single time I died because I forgot to equip my armor. Every single fucking time. Every goddamn time. Every single version, I forgot to do it. But, so I started checking. At the time, I was playing East 6, the Ark of Napishtim, which followed the exact same style as East Origin. East 6 used kind of top-down ISO sprite action RPG style. It's an awkward one to explain, but East 6 was the first one to do it. They then remade East 3, Oath in Felghana, in that style, and then they made East Origin again in the same style. So I was like, okay, we'll see if these play through. Videos don't work. Videos at the start of the game don't work. The intro video doesn't play. The epilogue doesn't play. Any video that's supposed to play in the middle of the game, they don't play. And ending
sounds like it's loading an external video player to play the video.
Yes,
and it's not loading like Blink or something.
Yeah, well, the files are in AVI. And
so that's not triggering the external.
Yeah, it's
files.
not actually.
It's not playing it in game. It's playing it for another player, and it's not loading.
So, but admittedly, in a lot of cases, they're not particularly big losses. I mean, they are. Like the intro video is usually pretty heavy because that's where they talk about what sets up the story. But you can get away with it.
So you don't have any problems like, why am I suddenly killing this guy? He was a friend to me a minute ago.
Yeah, like what? For some reason, why have I randomly washed up on a beach? However, if you remember when I first spoke about East 6,
you say it, but it seems like every East game you say I'll randomly wash up on a beach.
you do. But in East 6, I complained because I have East 6 on PS2. East 6 on the PS2 has the Americanized East intro, and that one actually explains how you got to where you are. So you're in a pub, the fucking army turn up, you leg it, your boat gets fired on by the navy, then all of a sudden your adventure starts. On the PC version, they use the Japanese intro, which explains fucking dick. Just 1 minute, that'll go like, cut. You don't see Adol in a pub. You don't see him running away from the thing. All of a sudden, a boat that you're on gets attacked, and Adol falls overboard. You don't even really see that. Just all of a sudden, splinters of wood and a girl reaching for who you believe to be Adol. Then all of a sudden, Adol washes up on the shore. You don't really get any kind of groove for it. The American intro is better. None of that stuff will play on Linux anyway. So I played through the game. The thing is, you can actually go into your directory folders, into like the root of the game directory, and just find the video files.
Yeah.
Now the video files are often audioless because they tie into when this video plays, play this sound file.
Interesting way to do it.
It is, but that seems to be how it's doing it. Some of the videos have
I'll
audio,
tell you what
others
they've done
don't.
that. Dubbing.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Because then you can, depending on what version you pick, be it Japanese or English audio, but will then play the relevant file.
Rather than have 4 or 5 different versions of the video, you just have 4 or 5 different versions of the audio.
Yeah, which is, less
Less
storage, so, at the end of the day. So, yeah, I ended up playing through E6. Very fun game. When a trigger event happened, I was like, hang on a minute. Villagers are now talking about something that's happened. I remember that this was supposed to have a video play, and I would then stop the game, tab out, find the video, and just say, "Look, there's no audio, but just bear with me. This is what they're talking about," and then just show the video.
Did you not make the audio up as you went? Like, oh, my adult.
Oh, yeah, I've done that too.
Yeah.
I do that too. But so I was okay. We've done E6. We tried East Origins. That has the same issue. I haven't really played East Origins because it doesn't have Adol in it, which is why it's a bad place to start. Plus, it spoils the first 2 games. Then I went on to E7, and I was like, okay, E7 uses a new style. It's a very new style, new battle system. It's familiar if you've played East 8 or you've played East Memories of Celceta, which are East 8's combat system was all based on a refined E7. Memories of Celceta was based on the combat system of 7 as well. So when they remade 3, they based it on 6. 6's battle system. When they remade 4, they based it on 7's battle system. I assumed that because 7 had like a new engine and fluff like that, it would probably, maybe the videos would work. You know, I just assumed. Nope, they don't work either. But even though the videos and that don't work, the gameplay is flawless. E7 has the occasional text rendering issue, like you'll see like a little squiggle come up at the end of a word, but you can still read it. Game will still run at 60 frames a second. Combat is pretty solid. It works fine with a Steam controller because I've been playing these games with Steam controllers. They work, just know that you're not going to get any videos. I'm looking forward to trying East 8 again to see if that will load, because it is a much newer title. Like that was on modern systems. It was designed with modern systems in mind. Yeah, a little awkward. Also played or also tried Akiba's Trip Undead and Undressed. That was an interesting one, trying to get that to run on Linux, because there's an option that says don't play videos in the setup for it. Like if you go to the game's settings section, you can just say don't play videos.
Interesting option to give.
It is, because normally you'd have like control configurations, screen configurations, graphics quality settings, you know, all that kind of thing.
We know our story's shit. If you wish to bypass it, just uncheck this box.
Well, pretty much so. But if you don't say don't play videos, you can't load the game. It doesn't play. It just freezes on Linux. So disable the videos, the game plays. But then you don't get any background music and no voice acting. But you do still get fighting sounds and menu sounds.
So just to clarify, is this a Linux port or is this Proton?
It's Proton. I was basically playing games in Proton just for a laugh. So for anyone that doesn't know, the Windows gaming laptop that we bought last February, not February this year, February last year, that thing's completely packed up. A fan in it has just, one of the bearings and one of the fans has completely packed it, and now even when it's idling, it sounds like it's going, and that'll go as it's like literally clipping the side of the case, just idling. Like you don't have to load any software. The processor temperature will start to ramp right up, and then it sounds like it's about to take off or explode. So I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to bust out my Linux gaming rig again, and we'll try these games that I was playing on that. Plus, with Hex and Kai Linux mentioning playing the East games, I want to see if all of the games have these issues, and is it really that big of a deal? It's not a huge problem, because the videos are still there to be played.
Admittedly about audio.
Yeah, for sure. But then usually it's not dialogue. There's no dialogue in a lot of these. So really, all you're missing is a bit of audio, which will be in a separate file. The entire soundtracks are usually there in OGG format on the thing. But you know,
Good old OGG.
yeah, good old OGG. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've just been dicking around with Proton on Linux. They've now got DirectX 9 to Vulkan support as well, apparently. So if you were playing certain games that were written with DirectX 9 in mind, they now play nicer with Proton.
Okay.
It's coming along really well. There are a few little niggly bits in a lot of these games.
When you consider what it's trying to do, that's fairly impressive.
Yeah, one-click installs for... I mean, don't get me wrong, it is just literally Wine and DirectX to Vulkan stuck together and given a one-click installer, but it's pretty impressive that Valve are actually spending the time to make these games work.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, they
Which
work
is basically,
really well.
It's basically a form of emulation in a weird way.
Kind
Or
of.
translation.
Yeah. I'd rather call it that than emulation. But I mean, it works pretty well. The idea was the main failing of the Steam machines and the Steam boxes, which is a little... something that aggravates me a fair bit when they used to buy Steam boxes, Steam machines or whatever they were called, and people would go, here's how you make your Steam machine useful, and then like, I've installed Windows 10 on it.
Buy a PC.
So it's not a Steam machine anymore, is it?
If it's a computer.
Yeah. But they're like, but look, my Steam machine is now useful. It's like, no, it isn't. You've just turned it into a regular ass PC.
Yeah. And it's probably cost you more if you just built it yourself.
Yeah.
Because we've had spit before, but Steam machines were overpriced.
Ridiculously so. In fact, one of the key Steam machines was around about the same spec as my 4-year-old laptop.
They misjudged the market. They should. The sort of people going to buy Steam machines were the users who wanted to have that sort of like that what I call the console experience.
Yeah.
And by price,
Steam OS was actually pretty good for that, by the way.
Yeah, but I said by pricing yourself, twice the price of the consoles. Well, you've shot yourself in the foot.
Yep.
You've shot yourself both feet. You not only shot yourself both feet, you then cut your feet off, and you've thrown away your little walking sticks.
Yep.
And so you've really missed the point here.
The problem was they were overpriced. They were underpowered and overpriced. So, I mean, if you were to like, I'm going to charge the same amount as an Xbox One X or a PS4 Pro, that would have been fine if they were as powerful as, say, the base PlayStation. Like, if they were even anywhere near as powerful as the base PlayStation 4, which they weren't.
Which is good.
They were grossly underpowered.
The people they were aiming for, the majority of people who they're aiming those machines for, are the sort of people who would build their own machines.
Yep. Well, I said to people, go out and buy a £100 refurbed business PC, like a small form factor business PC with an Intel Core i5 2400 in it or whatever. Buy a 1050 Ti when that came out at least. Buy a 1050 Ti to put in there because it's a small form factor and runs off of bus power.
Yeah.
And it would literally cream any console that was out at the point, and you could run SteamOS on it if you wished.
Yeah.
Fraction of the cost of a Steam machine.
Yeah.
Buy a Steam pad if you wanted to. It would be as small as an original Xbox One or a PS4. Would fit underneath your TV or whatever, and it was more powerful.
They completely misjudged it.
Yeah.
They completely got the wrong end of the stick of what people actually wanted.
We've now got hardware out there, like the new AMD Ryzen. Well, it's not new, but like it's the last gen of Ryzen. Was it the 2400G? Which is was it like a quad core or 8-core part with a built-in graphics card that was actually apparently quite good. You could build a rig with one of those for about £200-300 and still game on it. I think it was a little too ahead of its time. Had they have had Proton already, like if Proton was ready to go as it is now, when they released the Steam machines and the Steam machines weren't so fecking gutless, like if you had the 2400G in them or whatever, you wouldn't have had as much backlash about them. Because SteamOS is okay. It's all right.
Why do that?
Yeah, I'm having a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
But
no, SteamOS was. I mean, I used it on. I had a Steam Link.
Yeah.
So I had from a SteamOS on it, and I had no real trouble with it. I would use that to play a few games, and I like my little Steam Link.
I still got mine in a box. Do you use a Steam Pad or?
Yeah, I use the Steam controller because I got on a bundled deal for like £30 for the controller and the Steam Link.
Cracking deal. If you ever, by the way, if anyone ever actually sees Steam Pads on offer, buy one. They are actually pretty good. And if you get some third-party software for them, even better, apparently.
I'm just seeing if anyone's actually played Spawners because I thought we might need it later.
No, okay, fair enough. But yeah, that's basically it. I've just been testing some random games on Linux, thoroughly enjoying rocking my way through E6. Rocking my way now through E7. I've already been killed through doing something stupid in E7.
Good.
Good times. Half the course for me.
So you've near enough caught up now, haven't you? Because you've been working away for these games for a while.
Yeah, I've still got to do Origin. Obviously got to finish 7. 9 comes out, I think, either later this year or next year. So if we say 3. And if I really want to, play the PC Engine original version of East 4, East 3 and East 4. So I've basically got 5 more games left. If I really want to suffer, play the Japanese version of East 5, but no one plays East 5.
Right.
So I've near enough. Well, if we don't include, because I've already beaten remakes of them, I've finished all of them except 3 now. So I'm cool. I'm enjoying it. Thoroughly enjoying it. Sure. I'm not looking forward to Origin though, because as I say, it's the one without Adol in it. It seems really stupid to have an East game where Adol. The whole point of the East games, we're reading Adol's journals of his adventures. There's no fucking journal of East Origins. There isn't one because Adol ain't in it.
Are you playing his mother?
Well, it takes place hundreds of years before East 1, because it takes place in the same area as East 1. So the idea is you're supposed to have played East 1 and gone, oh hey, I would like to have some backstory on all these characters. And then it goes back in time to their ancestors. But I don't give a fuck about that, because I've already finished that area and like 7 other of Adol's adventures before East Origin came out.
Yeah.
East 1, the world of East 1, is it Asteria, isn't really that interesting. It's just where the adventure started.
Yeah.
So, don't really care.
Cool. Right. There's nothing else for gaming from you?
No.
Okay, moving on to TV.
Oh, Christ.
I've been watching Amazon's very recently released new series, The Boys.
Oh, right. I think that got recommended to me recently.
That, I've been thoroughly enjoying it. So it's set in a world of superheroes, but it's saying, right, okay, if we had these superheroes, let's assume that they're basically celebrities because they're people. They've got all the money they could want. They're nigh invulnerable and so forth. What would they actually be like? And the answer basically is they'd all be a bunch of dicks.
Yep.
Realistically, they'd be a bunch of dicks. So it's set in this world where this big company called I've pronounced this one, Vaunt Corp, basically has like deals with all these superheroes. They're basically like the agents of the superheroes.
Okay, yeah.
And they work at the top of the chain is the 7, who are the 7 sort of best superheroes in their company. And Vaughn basically hires these people out. So like, okay, you've got a town, you can have this superhero here. We'll rent him out to you for $200 million a year, and so forth. And they also do all the marketing, so they do all the merchandising. They have film series, which they basically are superheroes, but obviously these are actual people. They're not like made up characters. They're superheroes, but they're also made up characters. But they're in their world, they're real people. So they're in their film series and so forth. And most of these superheroes are plays on existing ones. So you've got Homeland, who's sort of half Superman, sort of a bit of Captain America in there, but it's sort of, I don't really know superheroes very well, so I'm going to get this probably very wrong. You've got A-Train, who's basically the Flash. You've got one called the Deep, who's basically Aquaman, who's a bit of a joke to everybody. They sort of but no one really sort of takes him seriously, and it's sort of just like the real Aquaman. There's a lot of sort of that sort of humour in there. They sort of take themselves seriously. But sort of ask what would actually be like to be a normal person in a world where these people exist. So, spoilers for the first episode. Like I always do in these things, I'll spoil the first episode because I can talk about it, but I won't mention anything beyond it. In the first 10 minutes of the first episode, you find out what happens if the Flash was to accidentally run through somebody. Yeah. And it's shown in very, very, very full-on detail. This guy's actually with his girlfriend. He's talking to his girlfriend, and all of a sudden, you just see his face is covered in blood. And it freezes. It shows this in the air, sort of freeze frame of all this blood just filling the whole air, and bits of bone and jaw everywhere. And he's just got just two hands left in his hand.
Oops. After
that, also it's an issue. It's the A-Train who's done it. It all says, "Sorry, dude," and just dashes off. So after that, he then has to sort of go down the route of, he has the funeral, and he gets approached by their corporate lawyers who try to get him to sign non-disclosure agreements.
Oh, sure.
And pay, so we'll give you $45,000, sign the dotted line here, but you can never speak about it to anybody, type situation. So it's sort of showing sort of the darker side of superheroes, because these superheroes are not nice. Then I would say that they're not. Some are seen quite nice. Some are. They're in a position of power. I mean, imagine celebrities. You think about celebrities now, there are some nice celebrities, but there's a lot of them out there who get to that position of power and become absolute dicks because they can just get whatever they want.
Yep.
But now imagine that, and not only have you got that power, but you've got actual power. You might have laser beam eyes that you can incinerate people with. You're going to be a real dick.
Yep.
Yeah. And these are not nice people. So he gets approached by this guy who's meant to be English, but has got the worst English accents on the planet. And he's played by a New Zealand man who actually plays Bones in Star Trek. And when I first met him, I thought he was meant to be Australian. He's actually meant to be English.
Oh, right.
But he's got a terrible English accent. As someone put it, it's the worst English accent since Dick Van Dyke was in Mary Poppins, and they're not far wrong. And yeah, he basically says, look, I know what happened to your mate, to your girlfriend. I don't like these guys either. I'm intending to sort of like expose to the world what they're actually like, and so we can stop them, basically take them down. Because there's sort of a background story about how Vaughns are pushing for the Congress to allow putting superheroes in the army, in the military, because at the moment they're basically a private police force at the moment.
Sure.
And they're basically sort of saying, they're basically saying, let's put them in the army, because these guys could be real devastating if they're actually allowed to go to other countries and actually destroy pretty properly. And there's a lot of pushback against it at the moment. So he's trying to sort of stop that. And so he basically employs this guy to basically, this one who's had his girlfriend killed, Huey's name, to sort of like help infiltrate and get into the Seven, basically, sort of, because he can go in and say, oh, I want an apology from this guy. I'll go in and say, while you're in there, plant a bug.
Okay.
So far as the story, sort of in the other sort of side of that, there's so far I saw this girl called Starlight, and she's a super heroine, a hero as well. She auditions to become part of Seven, because one of the part Sevens is retiring.
Okay.
So she auditions to become the new one. She gets in, and she thinks she's going to be doing help. She's been at home, listening on a police scanner, for instance, and going out and helping people and rescuing them and doing other things. So she thinks she's going to be doing all that. And she gets there, and the first thing she does is basically, the Deep says, yeah, if you want to be part of this gang, you need to give me a blowjob.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah, so she gives him, because he said, yeah, I'm basically second in command here, so if I say you're not in, you're not in.
Yeah.
So she gets sort of pushed.
It basically then turns into like this really fucking, the dark side of being
a celebrity.
Yeah.
So it's definitely riffing off.
She's having to be part of a clique.
Yeah, and it's definitely riffing off a lot of things we see at the moment, because all they're worried about, the company's all worried about, it's all based, oh good, well you're getting so many many likes this week, because what you did, we're trending on Twitter now of all this. They're all obsessed with the social media, a bit like a big media corporation now. They're obsessed with social media and putting their people in the right place to get the most hits and likes so they can sell more stuff. And it's a media empire. It's like they found out that all the crimes are actually pre-scheduled that they rescue people from. So it's very cynical take on that. It's very dark humour, but I like dark humour, so it's all right. My favourite scene, I won't talk about because it's the second episode, but it's my favourite scene of the thing so far, and I just laughed out loud. I don't often laugh out loud when I'm watching something. I laughed out loud. It was so funny, and it's just absolute dark humour. It's got some real weird bits in it, and I said, poor Deep, he's basically a laughing stock. Nobody takes the joke. He goes, yeah, he like at one point goes, yeah, one of my trusted advisors found the bottom of the ocean and Homeland, just goes, it was a porpoise. It is really funny. It's got so sort of funny. Bless him. You do feel sorry for him. Actually, most heroes are dicks. The Deep, though, although he is, he's a horrible piece of work, he does also seem to care about the environment, particularly the sea world and everything like that, and he sort of like wants to sort of like best the ocean so far. He does care about that sort of thing, although he does sort of like convince people to give him a blowjob.
Sure. He is an insufferable tosser.
Yeah.
But an insufferable tosser with a hat.
Yeah, with some degree of morals. And there's this other one who's I always get a name.
Blazing self-interest.
It's one called like Creamery, she's basically, I think meant to be like Starlight before but she's after several years after she's joined, so she's sort of like gone cynical, but she really actually does want to help people. You've also got one called Translucent, who is basically the Invisible Man. He's a perfect. He hides. He just goes stands invisible in the toilets, and just watches the ladies going in and out in the toilets while he's invisible. But yeah, so but it gets sort of to an end because Translucent happens to be in the toilets when Huey has to go flop the bug out and get the bug out of his phone, and he drops it on the floor and picks it up. Tristan follows it and finds the bug, and then follows Huey back to his shop. Yeah, and he has a fight, and he has a fight with Translucent.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I say the humour is really dark. It's a very tight. From what I understand, it's based on a comic book. It diverges. It's got sort of very similar sort of lines, but it's diverging quite a lot from the comic book, from what I understand, from what I've read. But it's keeping quite a tight storyline. I quite like the story. It doesn't feel so. It's not felt like any filler. It's only 8 episodes long for the first season. I'm now on episodes. I've just finished episode 6, so I've only got a couple more to go, and it feels like it's moving on not too fast. The pace, like feeling rushed, but it's moving on at a reasonable pace. It doesn't feel there's any padding.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I would recommend, if you've got Amazon Prime, definitely give it a watch. And I do like the sort of the anti-hero stories a bit. Well, I like the Punisher as well. So he's sort of not really a hero. It's a bit that's why I like Daredevil, so it takes the piss out of all the heroes. Yeah, it's Daredevil, the one with the is it? No,
you're thinking Deadpool.
Deadpool, that's him. Yes. Deadpool, I like Deadpool because it takes the piss out of all the whole superheroes. It is a silly genre. This is sort of I like because this is probably a more realistic take actually in some weird way. It's more like what they'd actually be like if these people actually existed, because they are effectively above the law. Because what are you gonna do? Shoot me? I'm invulnerable.
Yeah, that's it. It's one of the things I liked about was it Watchmen?
Yeah, I've not seen Watchmen.
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah,
a dark take on superheroes. Just finding out that in the grand scheme, superheroes are fucking dicks.
If you're a person who's given all that power, you're probably going to most people turn to dicks, sadly. So I would recommend watching it. But yeah, really enjoy it, and I'm gonna probably end up watching the last 2 episodes when I get home tonight.
I might have to look into it at some point.
Yeah, so there's so many bits in it which I just laughed my head. I just laughed at it. So there's a bit in episode 2 which is so funny. I really wish I could say what it is. 'Cause it's so funny.
It's just like a lot of people keep trying to get me to watch or catch up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff. No. I just don't fucking care. I completely forgot half of the films even existed.
Isn't that sort of like 35 of them now, or something like that?
I ain't got a clue.
I've watched some of the Marvel series on Netflix, so there's obviously quite a few on there.
They're gone now, aren't they? Or they're going?
They're going, yeah. I like The Punisher. I enjoyed that on there. Didn't like Daredevil. Didn't like the main character in Daredevil. I thought it was all right until it got to... The trouble with superhero stuff is it just tweaks too much on the silly side for me.
Sure.
I mean, I like sort of fantasy. I like sort of sci-fi, but there's... For some reason, superheroes just go too far on the silly scale. I think I've got drained by people like sort of Superman, who's just naff. Oh, he's invulnerable to this, and this. Well, then that's not interesting stories. Oh, but he gets hurt by kryptonite, which everybody convincingly happens to have some of this rare material. I was like, right, so yeah, basically you draw yourself into a corner, and yeah, so it's. Yeah,
he's weak to green stones.
Weak to green stones, which come from his own planet. That never understood that, how they come from his own bloody planet, and somehow he's weak to them. It's like, right, okay, that worked well. What is this, uranium or something? That's like, but yeah, somehow the wellness wife seems to have. All I can assume is that somebody found all the kryptonite and just sold it as like those little shiny rocks you get to buy. And the wellness wife just happens to have. Oh yeah, Granny's got a little bit of kryptonite on the mantle. It's all sorts of. It's all bizarre. So yeah, I've never really been into superheroes. I think they've always been too. They push the boundaries of believability too much.
Yeah.
Because it's quite neat. Although these guys do really super things, they are like that won't work. So like there's a bit where one of the guys is trying to lift. He's in the air trying to lift something. And yeah, I can't lift something. There's no ground for me to push against. And if I try, I'm just going to go straight through it because all the force I'm going to apply is just going to go straight through because it's thin metal.
Yep.
And that's true. That wouldn't work. You can't lift something with no ground, obviously. So it's got a sort of nods to realism is the wrong word, but being a bit sensible about the whole situation.
Sure.
Yeah, so I like that, but I do like sort of the anti-superhero stuff. So I've really enjoyed this, and yeah, seeing when the tough guys actually start panicking when they work out how to, because he's like, you can't kill me. Actually, we figured out a way we can kill you. Oh, for fuck's sake! Oh no, don't hurt me! Don't hurt me!
Yeah.
That's really quite fun when that happens.
Game on.
Yeah. So cool.
Might have to check it out.
Yeah, I if you like dark humor, I think you would like it. The reviews have been brilliant though. I like when I see some, I like looking at the negative reviews,
Right?
Like 1 stars, because they usually find something hilarious in them. Usually, some it's not like the book. I hate it, rubbish. Blah, blah, blah. The one review was brilliant. It said, I was watching this, I had to stop watching it for a moment. It's so amazingly gory. For Series 2's clearly being advertised towards children and teenagers, it's well out of order and so forth. Hang on a second. Whoa. On the Amazon page, it's an 18 rated. It's the only Amazon program I've seen so far that at the start actually says, this contains lots of gore, lots of violence, lots of sexual violence, lots of swearing. Actually has a title card saying this is really not good at the start. It's like, how can you not know this? Oh, right, you want Amazon to raise your children and you can't be bothered to actually check.
Yeah, basically, that's the groove. That is the groove.
Yeah, I let my children watch something really disgusting because I didn't bother to check into it. It's Amazon's fault for making it. It's like, don't be stupid.
I have this discussion with people all the time when it comes to YouTube. Like some of the parents at my kids' school. Oh yeah, I don't trust Facebook, and I don't trust. I don't let them loose on XYZ social media. But I've got no problem with Instagram. Instagram's fine. I was like, really? A fucking photo sharing website? Really? The fact that there are kids at my kids' school walking around with smartphones, taking pictures and just uploading them to Instagram. I was like, you're freaking out about parents taking pictures of their kids, but you've got children going around on Instagram.
Hackers delight seeing seeing all these people who don't know anything about cybersecurity taking photos of where they are at all times.
It's like, Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, or YouTube's perfectly fine. I let my kids on YouTube Kids completely unmonitored. It's like, you do know how easy it is to get something on YouTube Kids. I go, some of my
it's not created.
Yeah, I said something like, some of my content goes on YouTube Kids, and I swear all the fucking time. But it still goes up on YouTube Kids.
Because whatever algorithm is using it, it's computer-based algorithm. It doesn't pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. It's not and it's not that hard to go from YouTube Kids to YouTube proper. It just isn't.
No.
And the even funnier thing is, YouTube's terms of service state you have to be 13 or over to be on YouTube. YouTube fucking Kids. What the fuck? They're not supposed to have accounts. Look after your children.
Yeah. Don't let TV or something raise your children and then complain about said TV for being violent and so forth. It's not down to. There are obviously limits. I think that it's not so much the case now, but when there's a broadcast TV, obviously there's certain things you only put on at certain times. You don't have people having their guts ripped out on 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
But anything that's recorded and so forth, you've got to curate it. You've got to sort of make sure it's safe for your kids. You can't just assume. And it's the worst thing is seeing something that looks cartoony. It must be fine.
No, for sure. And I've seen I know a lot of parents that have stumbled on. Oh look, it's Mario stuff. Like that's got to be completely fine. It's like, you let your kids watch that? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's like, I said to one parent, I said, are you kidding me? I go, yes, they're Mario plushies. I go, but by episode 3, they're fucking each other. I was like, good job explaining that one to your child. Good luck. And they're like, what? I was like, so you didn't watch it then? No? I just saw that it had teddies in it. I was like, fucking there you go, numbnuts.
Yeah. Welcome to the internet.
My children aren't allowed on YouTube. No. Like, I've actually blocked YouTube on their computers. Like, it just doesn't go anywhere.
No.
Because I trust my children to a point, but they're sneaky little bastards. and I'm not going to be
And
there all the time.
At some point, you were a kid, and you know what you were like. When you were
Exactly,
kids.
and it's like,
And
look,
if you had access to YouTube, what you would be looking at?
it'd be it would be an absolute clusterfuck. And I'll
Particularly
be honest with you, I don't want to explain all of that shit to him.
And to be fair, your kids are not far. Well, you're also not far off the age where he's going to start looking. He's going to start asking questions about anatomy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they already do that. They already do that. Yeah, they already do that. Dude, there's sex ed in their school.
Really?
They're in fucking primary school and there's sex ed.
I didn't get that till I didn't get that till quite late on.
Nope, sex ed, primary school.
Bloody hell.
Yep. Already had
we're maintaining our number one rated teen pregnancy.
Yeah, it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Good job, guys. Good fucking job.
Cool.
Talking all kinds of fluff to children in school. I think the schools are just as bad, though. Okay, so they talk shit to your children. Your children are too young to be able to process half of the crap that they're saying to them. And in some cases, let's say we're doing a social media thing. Right? Like, oh, social media awareness. They will talk to these kids, like, they'll just drone on and on and on, and the kids will be like, and then the teacher will be like, so do you understand then? They'll be like, and then they'll come home and be like, what's this? It's like, I don't fucking know. What are you talking about? So, for example, apparently there's a thing called TikTok. I am too old to know what the fuck.
You know what TikTok is?
I don't fucking know.
TikTok is basically a Chinese source site that basically do GIFs. So they'll find a good-looking GIF, and then they'll basically put their logo on the bottom corner and sort of publish it. So they're usually all like GIFs, and it's all like 30 seconds long. Okay. They turn up loads on Reddit.
Okay, fair enough.
But at half time there's someone else's GIF, they've just slapped TikTok on the corner because it's Chinese, which means they just...
Fair enough.
Copyright doesn't really mean anything.
Basically, apparently a load of kids at the school have been let loose on TikTok. And so the fucking...
Well, that's definitely not curated.
The school gathers everyone around, all the children around, and they're talking shit to the children, and the children have no idea what they're talking about. A lot of them don't even know what the fuck TikTok is, but now they want to know what TikTok is because the school have told them they can't have it.
I was going to say, the first thing, if someone comes to me and says, yeah, there's this thing called TikTok, you guys really shouldn't go on it, it's really bad. Well, what's the first thing I want to do? I want to go on TikTok.
My children come home, and because my children don't have smartphones, they don't have tablets, they have computers, but they don't... Look, if I ain't sat in the room with them, they ain't fucking on them computers. Or if I'm not in earshot, they ain't on them. Right? Because, again, I know what I was like on a computer. Right? But when my son came in and he was like, so, Dad, what's TikTok? And I was like, TikTok? What? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Look, I actually started getting frustrated with him. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? And he says, TikTok. What is TikTok? I was like, I don't fucking know. Where have you heard of this stuff? And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, something in school. I was like, you're telling me, you're asking me? They sat you down to tell you about something and you have no idea what the fuck they were talking about. Good job, school, for making sure these children left the room understanding what they were talking about.
I think people who do stuff for children's schools are, by and large, are terrible at judging actually what children can and can't understand. They either dumb it down so much to like talking to like sort of 10, 11-year-olds like, hello kids, we're going to talk about fluffy bunnies today. You all love fluffy bunnies, don't you? And the kids like, oh, fluffy bunnies, that's what children play with. That's what I was like. That's what I was like. I was like, oh, that's what toddlers and stuff play.
It's when the kids at the back like, gay.
Yeah, exactly. Or they go the exact opposite and they drone on. I think they can talk to them like sort of. They talk to them the way that you couldn't talk to an 18-year-old.
No,
and I think it's going to pick it. It's. I mean, I won't make it. It's a hard balance to do. How do you engage them in such a way they pick it up and they understand what you're telling them? But without at the same time dumbing down too much. And it is not helped by the fact that in a classroom, and this is a big fault, we've had this debate about schools before, I don't want to go over it again, but classrooms are based not on understanding or comprehension level, they're based on your age, which is the one way to do it. It should be based on what you can actually do and you understand, and you work with people's comprehension levels, not by their age bracket, and assume, oh, you're 10 years old, you'll therefore understand this. Nope, some people might need to do work on the 9-year-old stuff. And some people might need to work, some teams might need to work on the 11 or 12-year-old stuff.
Yep.
So, you've got to sort of balance this out, but that's the way our system works.
School is awful.
Yeah. There's no easy fix.
It's also doubly bad when, you've got the parents who have no idea what the fuck is going on, and then they've given their children unrestricted access. only to then completely scream and jump up and down when they hear about random thing A or random thing B. What the fuck's going on, school? Why you letting like the devil's on these things? Like, and you didn't know, like you didn't know that your child was on this thing before. You want the school to take responsibility for this now. It's your fault. Oh wait, you want the app developer to take responsibility for this now, but it was your fault. Same with that Momo challenge thing. A lot of people said to me, "Oh, well, that's really bad. Like, oh, you should ban it. Make it illegal. Make it illegal to post this stuff." It's like they can't for a start. It's just like random trolls telling kids to cut all their hair off because the little girl not too far away from here did that. And another parent said to me, "Well, you can't ban your children from YouTube. You should teach them what it is and explain and all that kind of stuff." I go, "Yeah, that's fine, but." How far can you trust a child to do as you've asked?
This is actually one thing where broadcast media had an advantage, because if you sat your child down on the TV on 9 o'clock on BBC 2, 9 a.m. in the morning in the summertime, you knew for well there was not going to be any hardcore pornography on there, for example.
No, for sure.
So because there was curation there by the thing, so there was responsibility there. But with the advent of streaming, it doesn't exist.
Nope.
And the unfortunately, parents, the responsibility is now down to you.
Yeah.
You can't,
believe it or not, you brought this child into the world. You're supposed to raise it.
You're the age where you're raised by the TV. You can't do that anymore.
Nope.
The only way you can get around it is downstream have DVDs, and you create the DVDs, and then they can watch what they want.
Yep.
But you know what they've got.
Yep.
That's the only way around it. Sorry.
Trouble is, I still just know a lot of parents that will just blinkers. There you go, kids. Have whatever you want.
The most dangerous thing is they don't understand something, and rather than trying to understand it and see the problems with it, and then of course the next thing that happens is media gets hold of it, and media fights the war drums and say, "Oh, we can sell lots of newspapers doing this."
Don't get me started.
Let's say how evil such and such is, how bad such and such is. Parents will go, "Well, they need to do something about it," and blah 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 blah. Why the fuck wouldn't you do anything about it? Why wouldn't you watch? Oh my god, I can't believe they could find this stuff on YouTube.
well, welcome to the internet, fucker. Yeah. The trouble is, a lot of the parents grew up with the fucking internet.
Yeah.
We are the internet generation.
But somehow they put their hand in the sand and their kids won't be as bad as they were.
Yeah. I mean, alright, admittedly there are a lot of people who didn't use the internet, like as much as we did, because we have to remember that not every user is. Well,
when I grew up, internet wasn't actually that prevalent.
No. Well, everyone I knew was on the internet.
Yeah, well,
had some access to the internet.
Well, I mean, in my family group, we were the first to have dial-up.
Mm-hmm.
We got dial-up quite late, really. We went straight to a 56k modem, so we got dial-up quite late. In the grand scheme of things, we were only on dial-up for 2 years before we switched to broadband. That gives you an idea of how long we were on dial-up for. How late we got internet. But then when I did our college degree, AVCE, I would say at least 2/3 of that class didn't have internet access.
That's terrifying.
It was. And these were computer science, these were people doing science computing, 2/3 didn't have internet access. They had to use all the internet at college.
In fairness, AVCE was more ICT than...
Yeah, but it's still a computer-based course, and you must have an interest in computing.
To a point.
To a point.
That'd be like saying I need to have an interest in computing to do Clate. But,
I would say, in fairness, AVC was a little bit more sophisticated than Clate.
Not by a huge amount.
It was a bit more sophisticated. I've having seen my father did Clate courses, and having seen what he had to do, we were definitely a lot more advanced.
Wow.
No, we weren't. Yes, we weren't degree or PhD level, but we were a lot more advanced than Clate.
Well, no, we were, but I'm saying the work that we were handed wasn't.
Honestly, it was.
Wow.
My father did Clate, and the stuff that he was asked to do was we were a lot more advanced.
Well.
I mean, advanced is a relative term.
The idea that AVC was literally just type up some documents. Do a letterhead, mail merge.
That was
very basic, like for fucking one thing.
We had a whole segment for it. We did database design. That's more than they did in Clate.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's still ICT more than comp sci.
Oh no, it's not comp sci. No.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but still fundamentally a computer-based course.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you had to have full-blown internet access to want to know how to do a mail merge or...
No, but I can't say if you by nature, if you're doing an ICT course, you must have an interest in computing.
Not really.
No.
I mean, dude, so when my lot went through sixth form, because I started my computing education in sixth form before I even went to college, like a couple of years before I went to ABCE, we all said ICT is just how to become a secretary. That's it. You might as well just fucking climb under the table and suck a dick, because that's pretty much all this course is useful for. The real meat of it was comp sci, and we didn't get access to that until we went to foundation year. So ICT, interest in computing, bollocks. Because a lot of people at the time were just going into, oh hey, I'm going to do like secretarial work and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's the same. There were the same people interested in that were the bums who were trying to get out and go like getting a fucking job. Were the same fucking idiots that were going to.
If you look at any college
Yeah,
course,
but
there's a significant chunk of people who are doing it because
it was the same as the people who were going in to do. Oh, what the fuck was it? Like there was a travel agency fucking course.
Travel and tourism.
Yeah. Bollocks.
Yeah. Oh come on, you go to any college uni. There's I would say 2/3 of students who go to college have no actual interest in anything. They're travel and tourism.
That was the same with
mechanics,
same with
engineering. Also, it's the same because it's free education, and it's 2 years when you're doing something where you're not. It's an excuse not to have to work full time. I'm going to college to learn X, Y, Z.
It's bullshit.
So
it's all bullshit.
Yeah. Right. On that note, we shall end ourselves. So, if anyone's watching, up in the SuffolkRam,
Skazz, yes.
if you've enjoyed this, if you are an audio listener, you can come join us on our next live stream, which will be on the 17th of not October.
Fucking hell, October. I've got some time off. See you later, guys.
No, you're not allowed time off.
Oh.
17th of August, which is 2 weeks today if you're watching this, but if you're on the audio version, obviously it's relative. So 7th of August, join us at 9:30 GMT +1.
And everyone's going, wait, what's this?
I've got to specify.
Someone said to me, what's that in Central? I said, I don't fucking know. Look it up, dude.
Well, all right.
Google it.
Okay. Okay.
Don't go and find all the porn.
Okay. We'll make this fair. UTC +1.
Oh, that's going to, oh, wow.
Universal time is GMT, UTC +1.
Right,
there
just go on to DuckDuckGo, type that in. How many pages until you get to porn?
Time zone porn.
Go Google image search and see what you get.
I'll tell you what, for next time I'll come and I'll pre-calculate in Unix time. Actually, I'm going to do it now.
Oh, God.
Let's calculate in Unix time.
He's actually doing it.
Unix times that. There we go. Put in a date and it'll hopefully split. Here we go. Enter the date.
Always doing it. Get ready.
019. 08. 17. 21.
Give us the numbers.
Right.
Generation. Has it crashed?
So in Unix time, it's a big number.
Did you not know that?
I think, if I'm translating this right, it's 1,566,077,400 seconds from Unix time. There you go. That's when our next live stream is. Look forward to seeing you then. You can support us on Patreon. No one has yet, but someone might one day.
No one will.
Well, you never know. Someone might be drunk and...
The amount of processing issues Patreon seems to have these days? Nah. I don't.
Yeah. Patreon, perhaps Patreon just don't actually take money from anybody. They want my money.
Clearly not. They're a payment processing company that can't process payments.
We don't like your money. Oh, okay.
Good job, Patreon.
Thanks, Patreon. You gave too much away. Why are you giving it to him? So,
because if I don't, he won't edit my shit.
Yeah. You can find us on the internet, rannerds.com, which will redirect you to our actual website. We've got Twitter, rannerds. We haven't got Google Plus anymore. Sad face. We have a
Another Google product.
Yeah, we have a Facebook page, facebook.com/rannerds.
One day we will actually do something with any of these.
They are done. Stuff does happen to them.
Automatically.
Well, yes. Stuff is happening to them. Just automatically. Doesn't matter. Stuff's not happening. It's fine. you're assuming that any other Facebook page actually has actual people on there. It's all
Wow.
bots.
Yeah, it's just
all
bots talking to bots.
There's no real people on Facebook. I've come to the conclusion that all bot accounts.
That doesn't surprise me. That would not surprise me.
If someone claims they have a Facebook page, they've got their own little private version of Facebook that they're just talking to bots. They don't realise it. Facebook, all your Facebook friends don't exist. They're just a simulation of what the Facebook thinks they should be like.
We're all just sandboxed.
Yeah, we are.
We're all just sandboxed from one another.
Yeah.
We're all on each other's profile, but you're not actually talking to the other person.
I tell you what, it's all just, random. It's all just a bit of random seed generation there, but it's all machine learning.
So why did you tell me to go out and buy blah blah blah? I was like, what? I thought it was a bit weird that you told me to go out and buy a pink fairy dress.
You direct messaged me that and said, I think you've been looking at these recently. Would you like to buy one? And I'm like, well, yes, I have. Thanks very much for telling me. Yeah.
How did you know?
How did you know, mother?
It's like, oh my god.
Yes, I did want that dragon dildo. How did you know?
Yes, I did want that turkey based.
Yeah.
Good old Facebook.
Yeah.
It's what the internet really is like.
Yeah.
People like Ram design things for the internet.
That's how I know it's sandboxed.
He enjoys everything about the internet. All the new stuff that comes out that makes all the old
TikTok.
shit. Yeah. I'm too old for that shit. Just give me a dial in BBS and IRC.
In
and
my
I'm good.
day, young man, BBS was all we needed, and it was good enough for me. It was good enough for you.
I still use BBSs.
Yeah.
I still use them.
See? Told you.
Still use BBSs.
IRC?
Yeah, still use IRC.
There you go. See.
I've got a machine logged into IRC in the house
There
right
you
now.
go. There you go. So, very much for watching. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
Bye.